Chapter 149. As for the third point, once we replace the Nebula royal family, the Long family will not interfere with the royal family's affairs. Everyone was confused. Since the Long family would not interfere with the royal family's affairs, what was the point of replacing the Nebula royal family? Aor, just tell me what you mean. Longao nodded. Since things had come to this point, he did not have any scruples. He said, Grandfather, my intention is simple. The Wang family will replace the Nebula royal family and take over the Nebula kingdom. As for us, we will still be in Scarlet Fire Town. Everyone was not stupid. They instantly understood the meaning of Longao's words. Wang Yidao and Wang Han stood up. Their faces were filled with excitement because they knew what it meant for the Wang family to replace the Nebula royal family. The Wang family was just a small family in Scarlet Fire Town. They might be powerful in Scarlet Fire Town, but they were nothing in the eyes of the Nebula Kingdom. Aor, isn't this a little inappropriate? Uncle, this is very appropriate. Let's not talk about my relationship with Yin. Just the fact that the Wang family is supporting the Long family means that the Wang family will take over the royal family. Wang Han and Wang Yidao did not say anything more. After all, this was a gift from the sky. Who knew when they would get another one? Longhausher's face was still solemn. He said, Ao, with our current strength, can we replace the Nebula royal family? Longao was very confident about this. The Nebula royal family was able to dominate the Nebula kingdom not because they had millions of troops, but because they had the National Guard Hall and Ouyang. But now, 80% of the people in the National Guard Hall had been killed. As for Ouyang, he was highly valued by Longhausher. It would be difficult for him to recover his strength in a short time. No matter what, the lightning tribulation was one of the most powerful forces in the world. It was precisely because of this that Longao had full confidence that his cultivation could break through the transformation realm before Ouyang recovered from his injuries. At that time, as long as he could kill Ouyang, it would be a matter of minutes to destroy the Nebula royal family. Longao did not say anything about this. Grandfather, even if we want to replace the Nebula royal family, it is definitely not now. Now we only have one thing to do, and that is to develop the strength of the Scarlet Fire Town. Grandpa Wang, from now on, the Wang family must develop its power. In at most a year, or even less, the Wang family will replace the Nebula royal family. No matter who we rely on, our own strength is the most important thing. Nodding, Wang Yidao suppressed the excitement in his heart and said, I will do it. If Longao had said this before, Wang Yidao would not have believed it. But after seeing the terrifying saber attack of Longao, Wang Yidao believed that Longao could do it. After sending off the people from the Wang clan, there were only 3 people left in the hall: Longhausher, Long Yi, and Longao. Ao, are you sure? Grandpa, the only problem right now is Old Master Xingyun. But don't worry. Leave this to me. Old Master Xingyun? Longhausher said with a worried face. The old master of the Nebula royal family, Ouyang, was also a genius. Not only was he ranked in the top 30 of the 100 battle ranking, but he also developed the Nebula kingdom to its current scale. Ao, are you confident in dealing with him? Until now, Longhausher still did not know much about his grandson's strength. But he knew a little about Old Master Xingyun. Grandpa, trust me. Longao did not say much. He only said 3 words, trust me. After taking a deep look at his grandson, Longhausher suddenly smiled and nodded, saying, Grandpa will definitely choose you. Ao, when are you going to leave this time? Regarding Longao's departure, everyone in the entire Long family seemed to have long been accustomed to it. Grandpa, 3 days later, I will leave the family. 2 hours later. Except for Longao, no one dared to enter the forbidden area of the Long family, the so-called backyard. Kid, are you okay? Longao was not angry that Fire Qilin did not help the Red Fire Town. Anyway, his agreement with Fire Qilin was to protect the Long family, not the Red Fire Town. Longao smiled and nodded, saying, It's done. Brother Qilin, I want to ask, what is your cultivation level? Longao already knew the 5 transformations. He was very curious about the fire Qilin in front of him. Was he a Tao ancestor? Snorting coldly, the fire Qilin said with dissatisfaction. Brat, you don't have the qualifications to know my strength, but I can tell you one thing. Your current strength is very weak. Perhaps in the Scarlet Fire Town, or even in the Star Cloud Kingdom, you are very strong, but in the entire continent, your strength is nothing. Longao nodded. Of course, he chose to believe Fire Qilin's words. No matter what, the Nebula Kingdom was insignificant in the whole Tianwu continent. Since Fire Qilin was unwilling to say more, Longao did not continue to ask. Instead, he said, Brother Qilin, how are your injuries? Longao was very concerned about Fire Qilin's injuries. No matter what, he and Fire Qilin had a 3-year agreement. Fire Qilin's recovery was a good thing for the Long family. Kid, you came back at the right time. My injuries are too serious, and I need your help. Brother Qilin, tell me. As long as I can do it, I will not refuse. Fire Qilin seemed to be very appreciative. His voice softened a little, saying, Longao, I need some spiritual herbs for my injuries. Now, I will send the names into your mind. Remember them well. In an instant, Longao felt that the names of many spiritual grasses appeared in his mind. There were about 10 types of spiritual grasses. Longao was not unfamiliar with these spiritual grasses. After all, as an alchemist, he had to study spiritual grasses. Brother Qilin, I have something to tell you. I hope you can give me a drop of your blood. As soon as Longao finished speaking, Fire Qilin's body suddenly erupted with a powerful aura. It suppressed Longao, but Longao did not retreat half a step. He stood firmly in his original position, staring at Fire Qilin in front of him. Fire Qilin said coldly, I'll give you a chance to explain. Longao did not hide anything. He told Fire Qilin about the matter between him and Aoxue. He did not even hide the 9 divine needles. After Longao finished speaking, Fire Qilin's cold aura disappeared without a trace. Just as Fire Qilin was about to say something, it suddenly said, Kid, there's someone with decent strength coming. You should go take a look. If you need me, just tell me. Chapter 150. After hearing Longao's words, the Flame Qilin's attitude completely changed. In the past, the Flame Qilin definitely wouldn't have said such a thing. Longao was very confused. He didn't know who had come. Could it be Ouyang Zhong? Longao wasn't a fool. He naturally knew that if the Flame Qilin thought this person was an expert, he definitely wouldn't be weak. That was why Longao was immediately on guard. No matter what, he wasn't alone. He had his entire family behind him. If something happened, the consequences would be unimaginable. Uncle Ao. Longao had just left the Long family when he saw Ao Tian appear. He was very surprised. He didn't know why Ao Tian had come looking for him. Ao, I have some business with you. Longao nodded and brought Ao Tian back to the Long family. They were in a secluded pavilion. Ao Tian picked up a teacup from the table and took a sip. Ao, do you hate Aoxue? Longao naturally understood the meaning behind his words. He shook his head and said, I don't hate him. In truth, this matter is my fault. Back then, I was saved by the Gold Sun Sect's master. Zhang Yemo wanted to marry me, and I didn't think too much about it. In 3 months, Aoxue and Zhang Zhihong will be married. Aor, I came this time to persuade you to give up. No. Longao directly refused without even thinking about it. He clenched his fists, his face filled with determination. He had already decided that whether the other party was the Gold Sun Sect, the Thunder Sect, or the Flame Sect, he wouldn't give up. Ao Tian seemed to have expected Longao to be like this. He didn't feel the slightest bit of surprise. Aor, do you know the Gold Sun Sect? I do. The Gold Sun Sect was one of the 6 great sects of the Tianwu continent. Its power was second only to the Thunder Sect and the Flame Sect. Aor, your talent and potential are the strongest I've ever seen. However, I still have to advise you not to be reckless. The Gold Sun sect's power isn't something you can imagine. Longao wasn't a fool. He naturally understood the meaning behind Ao Tian's words. He wanted him to give up. As for the reason, he didn't know. Could it be that the Ghost sect was afraid of the Gold Sun sect? Ao or you and Ao Xue are not destined to be together. I hope you choose to give up. Otherwise, if you provoke the Golden Sun sect, even I can't protect you. After saying this, Ao Tian stood up and left. He disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. With determination in his eyes, Longao knew that in this dog-eat-dog world, without strength, not only himself, even his family and loved ones would not be safe. In front of the powerful Golden Sun sect, even Ao Tian the Ghost King chose to retreat. It was better to rely on oneself than on others. This was a principle that had never changed since ancient times. Because of this, Longao knew very well that he only had 3 months. After 3 months, Ao Xue and Zhang Zhihong would be married. At that time, no matter what happened, he would not choose to give up. Scarlet Fire Town. The current Scarlet Fire Town was in a mess. Although Longao returned in time and prevented the destruction of Scarlet Fire Town, it still caused a great loss to Scarlet Fire Town, especially the loss of 2 big families. However, the Long family wasn't worried at all. After all, Longao's killing of 1,000,000 soldiers with 1/ had become famous in the Star Cloud Kingdom, and even the entire Tianzhou. There was no need to say more. Many kingdoms from all directions had reached out to help rebuild Scarlet Fire Town. This was the situation. When Scarlet Fire Town was in trouble, no one would stand out. Once Scarlet Fire Town was glorious, many people would suddenly appear from all directions. It was very precious to provide help in times of need. Adding flowers to brocade was considered an ulterior motive. As for Longao's killing of 1,000,000 soldiers with 1/, it had indeed spread throughout the entire Tianzhou. Everyone was filled with curiosity and admiration for this young man who had risen to power in just a few months. Severely injuring the old ancestor of the Star Cloud Kingdom and killing 1,000,000 soldiers with 1/. 3 days later, in the Star Cloud City, a young man with a head of white hair, dressed in black, exuded a faintly discernible cold aura. Everyone who saw this person would avoid him as if he was the god of death. God of death. That's right. At this moment, Longao was indeed the god of death in the eyes of outsiders. After all, a person who could kill 1,000,000 people with 1/ was terrifying. Longao, to the Star Cloud Kingdom, was a person who couldn't be controlled. Ignoring the people around him, Longao entered Star Cloud City and went straight to the Star Cloud royal family. This time, he only had one purpose, and that was to find Ouyang Zhong. Longao knew very well in his heart that under normal circumstances, it was almost impossible for him to kill Ouyang Zhong. But now, Ouyang Zhong was seriously injured by him. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Longao knew even more clearly that once he killed Ouyang Zhong, the Wang family would be able to enter the royal family. From then on, the family would have one less strong enemy. The current Star Cloud royal family was no longer as glorious as it was in the past. Ouyang Zhong was severely injured and his whereabouts were unknown. Furthermore, the National Guard Hall had declined. The royal family had lost their support. Star Cloud Royal Family, Main Hall. Feier, did we really do something wrong? Ouyang Feng's face was filled with sadness. Such a prosperous royal family had declined to such a state in just a few days. Could it be that he had really done something wrong? Ouyang Feng had always thought that after the old ancestor came out of seclusion, he would be able to surpass the Thunder Empire. Even if he couldn't surpass the Thunder Empire, he would still be able to surpass the other kingdoms. But now, Father, if we could rope in Longao back then, I believe the royal family wouldn't have fallen to such a state today. If it was in the past, Ouyang Feng wouldn't have dared to say this. However, things had already developed to such a state. Ouyang Feng seemed to have thrown caution to the wind. Especially when Longao didn't kill him, he was even more moved. Ouyang Feng wasn't angry at all because he had indeed done something wrong. He had never thought that Longao would be able to rise so quickly in just a few months and even injure the old ancestor. Even if Longao borrowed the power of the Thunder Calamity, the result was already determined. Ha! Could it be that Longao has really won? The old ancestor was only severely injured. As long as the old ancestor doesn't fall, our royal family won't perish. One day, our Star Cloud royal family will flatten the Scarlet Fire Town and the Long family. As for Longao, I will let him know the consequences of provoking our Star Cloud royal family. Until now, Ouyang Feng was still full of confidence. In his opinion, as long as the old ancestor was alive, the Star Cloud royal family wouldn't decline. The old ancestor was the Star Cloud royal family's only hope. You want to flatten the Scarlet Fire Town and the Long family? With just you? Looking at the black-clothed, white-haired young man who suddenly walked in, both Ouyang Feng and Ouyang Fei were shocked. Chapter 151. At this moment, Ouyang Feng's face was extremely gloomy. Longao, you still dare to come? Why wouldn't I dare? With a sneer, Longao sat down on the left side. He glanced at Ouyang Fei and said, Ouyang Fei, the grudge between me and the Nebula royal family must be settled today. Ouyang Fei nodded. He wasn't a fool. Of course, he knew that Longao asked him because of their friendship. Otherwise, with Longao's current strength, would he need to ask him? Longao, I'm sorry. After saying this, Ouyang Fei turned and left. When he reached the door, he suddenly stopped and said, Brother Long, as the crown prince of the royal family, I have no friends, no relatives, no brothers. You are my only friend. You were, you are, and you will be in the future. Looking at Ouyang Fei leaving, Longao seemed to be touched. He didn't continue to dwell on this issue. Longao knew that his relationship with Ouyang Fei couldn't go back to how it was before. Ouyang Feng, for Ouyang Fei's sake, I'll give you a chance. Ouyang Feng wanted to say something, but Longao continued. Withdraw from the royal family and leave the Nebula Kingdom with the Ouyang family. From then on, the grudge between you and me will be written off. Before coming, especially when he heard that Ouyang Feng wanted to flatten the Scarlet Fire Town, Longao really wanted to use this opportunity to eliminate the Ouyang family and forcefully replace the Nebula royal family. But just now, after hearing Ouyang Fei's words, Longao changed his mind. No matter what Ouyang Fei did, he had always treated him as a friend. Just this point alone, Longao didn't want to go too far. Because of this, Longao was prepared to let go of this grudge. Withdraw from the royal family? Would Ouyang Feng be willing to do so? Without a doubt, Ouyang Feng was definitely not willing to withdraw from the royal family. Because he wasn't a fool. Of course, he knew that once the Ouyang family withdrew from the royal family, there would only be one path left. Longao, our relationship can be eased. Waving his hand, Longao didn't give Ouyang Feng any chance to finish his words. His voice also became cold. He said, Ouyang family only has two paths. First, withdraw from the royal family. Second, I will slaughter the entire Ouyang family. Hearing those words, Ouyang Feng's expression became even more gloomy. As the emperor of the imperial family, Ouyang Feng could be said to be able to get whatever he wanted. When had he ever been humiliated like this? Being forced to withdraw from the imperial family, if this matter were to spread out, where would the Ouyang clan's face go? 1 month. After 1 month, if the Ouyang clan doesn't withdraw from the royal family, I will come personally. Longao stood up and looked deeply at Ouyang Feng. He did not continue to stay and quickly left. Sitting alone in the main hall, Ouyang Feng seemed to have aged more than 10 years. As the monarch of a country, he had never felt so helpless before. He was forced to withdraw from the royal family by a small disciple of the Red Fire Town's dragon clan. Old ancestor, where are you? After leaving the Star Cloud royal family, Longao's expression didn't look too good. Because he was sure that Ouyang Zhong wasn't in the royal family. Otherwise, Ouyang Zhong would have come out long ago. Things had already reached this stage. Longao could also confirm one thing, and that was that Ouyang Zhong's injury was very serious, very serious. Ouyang Zhong was a hidden danger. If he couldn't get rid of this hidden danger, not to mention himself, even his family would be in great danger. In Star Cloud City, other than the royal family, there were also 4 major families. The 4 major families were the 5th grade Long family, Miao family, Chung family, and Nangong family. Except for the royal family, in the entire Star Cloud City, the Miao family and Longao's grudge was the biggest. Right now, the Miao family was very obedient. They didn't dare to provoke Longao. As for the other 3 major families, including the 5th grade Long family, they seemed to have given up on their grudges. After all, Longao's deeds had spread throughout Star Cloud City. Under the suppression of Ouyang Zhong's aura, he attracted the lightning tribulation. After successfully passing the lightning tribulation, he borrowed the power of the lightning tribulation to heavily injure Ouyang Zhong. He even killed millions of soldiers. Who would dare to provoke such a killing god? Longao didn't plan to expel or eliminate the major families in Star Cloud City. Sometimes threats and promises were the best way. Longao's main purpose in coming to Star Cloud City was to find Ouyang Zhong. As for the Wang family entering the Star Cloud royal family, that was a matter for the future. After all, with the Wang family's strength, even if they could enter the royal family, they wouldn't be able to stabilize their position. Just like that, Longao stayed in Star Cloud City for 3 days. He still didn't have a clue. On the 4th day, Hao Chao suddenly appeared. He went straight to the point and said, "Brother Long, are you looking for Ouyang Zhong's whereabouts?" The news of Longao heavily injuring Ouyang Zhong had spread throughout Tianzhou. Hao Chao knew, but he wasn't curious at all. Looking at the black-clothed, white-haired youth in front of him, Hao Chao was in disbelief. He vaguely remembered that when he first met Longao, he was only a one-line sky cultivator. But in just a few months, he had grown to such a level. The lightning tribulation realm was a realm that he didn't even dare to think about. As a former member of the National Guard Hall, Hao Chao naturally knew what it meant to be a metamorphosis cultivator. In front of a metamorphosis cultivator, a Xiantian cultivator was just a joke. Longao nodded. He didn't hide anything from Hao Chao. He said, "Brother Hao, I'm looking for Ouyang Zhong. I'm going to eliminate him completely." Hao Chao didn't continue to ask. Instead, he said, "Brother Long, I know where Ouyang Zhong is." "Where is he?" Hearing that Hao Chao knew where Ouyang Zhong was, Longao was delighted at first. Then, he couldn't wait to ask. No matter what, Ouyang Zhong's strength was obvious. Taking advantage of his injury was the best time to kill him. Once he missed this opportunity, who knew if he would get another chance in the future? "Brother Long, you used the power of the lightning tribulation to heavily injure Ouyang Zhong. Ouyang Zhong didn't dare to stay in Star Cloud City. Instead, he went to Thunder City and entered the Thunder Imperial family." Thunder Imperial family? Longao seemed a little surprised. He couldn't figure out why Ouyang Zhong would go to the Thunder Imperial family. However, he was sure of one thing. Since the Thunder Imperial family chose to accept Ouyang Zhong, they had already expressed their attitude. They didn't put him in their eyes. Thunder Imperial family. Longao clenched his fists tightly. He didn't have a good impression of the Thunder Imperial family. Especially Gu Bai, who wanted to kill him. It seemed that the Thunder Imperial family wanted to help Ouyang Zhong. Longao was a little serious. He knew that the Star Cloud Imperial family and the Thunder Imperial family weren't on the same level. Otherwise, Ouyang Zhong wouldn't have escaped to the Thunder Imperial family to seek protection. Chapter 152. Hao Chao's face was also solemn as he said, "Brother Long, it seems that Ouyang Zhong's injuries aren't light. Otherwise he wouldn't have fled to the Thunder Royal family to seek refuge." He nodded his head. How could Longao not know about this point? "Brother Hao, thank you very much this time. Brother Long, you don't have to be so polite with me. If there's anything you need me to do, just let me know." Brother Hao, I want to ask, do you have anywhere to go now? Hao Chao shook his head with a bitter expression. Although he had left the Nebula National Guard Hall, as an evolved warrior, he would be respected no matter where he went. However, Hao Chao didn't want to join any kingdom and even rejected the invitation of the Thunder National Guard Hall. Delighted, Longao went straight to the point and said, Brother Hao, you're my friend. I'll be frank. If you don't have anywhere else to go, why don't you come to the Scarlet Fire Town and become a guest of my Long family? Hao Chao agreed without even thinking about it. Brother Hao, don't worry. Even if you become a guest of my Long family, I won't restrict your freedom. Waving his hand, Hao Chao said with a smile, Brother Long, I'm going to cultivate in seclusion anyway. I can go to the Scarlet Fire Town. Hao Chao wasn't a fool. Of course, he knew the purpose of Longao's invitation. After all, the Scarlet Fire Town looked beautiful now, but it was actually full of danger. Once there was danger, the Scarlet Fire Town would be in big trouble. Next, the two chatted for a while. Hao Chao got up and left the nebulous city for the Scarlet Fire Town. With regards to Hao Chao being able to become a guest of the family, Longao also heaved a sigh of relief. No matter what was said, Hao Chao was an evolved martial artist. With his own strength, ordinary Xiantian martial artists were simply not Hao Chao's match. Thunder Royal Family. Longao didn't go to the Thunder Royal Family immediately because he knew that since the Thunder Royal Family chose to take Ouyang Zhong in, they had already made it clear that they wanted to oppose him. Although his cultivation had successfully passed the Lightning Calamity realm, Longao knew his own limits. With his current strength, it was impossible for him to fight against the entire Thunder Imperial family. Once he implicated his family, he would go for wool and come home shorn. What should he do? Go to the Thunder Royal family, and resolve the grudge between him and Ouyang Zhong by force. If he did not go to the Thunder Royal family, once Ouyang Zhong recovered from his injuries, the consequences would be very troublesome. For a moment, Longao didn't know what to do. Star Cloud City. The dark night was dotted with stars. Longao, who had just entered a state of cultivation, was enveloped by a powerful aura. Before Longao could react, a soft voice rang out. Out of curiosity, Longao had already quietly left the tavern and followed the Black Shadow. The two of them, one in front and one behind, were very fast. In the blink of an eye, they had already disappeared into the boundless night. On the peak of a barren mountain not far from Star Cloud City. Who are you? Why are you looking for me? Longao was very surprised when he saw the black-clothed man. He could clearly sense that the black-clothed man's aura was very powerful. It was no different from Chang Jihang's. In other words, the black-clothed man in front of him was an earthly sovereign martial artist. Longao was very curious about the identity of the black-clothed man. At this moment, the black-clothed man suddenly turned around. He had sword-like eyebrows, starry eyes, a big nose, and a small mouth. He was about 27 or 28 years old, and had an arrogant look on his face. With a faint smile, the black-clothed man asked coldly, You are Longao? Yes. I am Xia Jun from the Thunder Sect. Xia Jun? Thunder Sect? Hearing that the other party had revealed his identity, Longao became even more vigilant. This was because he was not unfamiliar with the Thunder Sect. As one of the 6 major sects, the Thunder Sect was on par with the Blazing Sect in terms of strength and background. They were above the other 4 major sects. Could it be that the Thunder Sect was looking for trouble? Thinking about it, Longao felt that this matter was a bit troublesome. In name, the Thunder Kingdom was a branch of the Thunder Sect. However, everyone knew that the Thunder Kingdom did not care about the Thunder Kingdom at all. It was impossible for them to send an earthly sovereign martial artist just for him. If that was the case, the Thunder Sect was making a big fuss over nothing. As if he could guess what Longao was thinking, Xia Jun smiled and said, You don't have to worry. I am not looking for trouble this time. The grudge between you and the Star Cloud Royal family has nothing to do with the Thunder Sect. I am looking for you this time mainly because of Zhang Jihang. Zhang Jihang? Hearing Xia Jun's words, Longao instantly understood. Although the 6 major sects of the Tianzhou looked very harmonious, they were actually fighting openly and secretly to destroy each other. Could it be that the Golden Sun sect and the Thunder sect had a huge grudge? Just say it. I don't like to beat around the bush. Ha ha ha, very good. I admire your character. In that case, I will get straight to the point. Longao, I already know about the matter between you and Zhang Zhiheng. Do you want to get Aoshue? Longao did not speak because he did not know what Xia Jun wanted to say. Longao did not want to become a sacrifice for the Golden Sun sect and the Thunder sect. As far as I know, Aoshue and Zhang Zhiheng will be married in 3 months. You alone can't take Aoshue away from Zhang Zhiheng. However, if you cooperate with me, I can guarantee that you and Aoshue will be together. How about it? Conditions. Longao did not believe that a pie would fall from the sky. Xia Jun would not help him for no reason. Because of this, Longao was very clear that Xia Jun must have conditions. Xia Jun became more and more appreciative. He nodded and said, I have 2 conditions. The first condition is that I want you to help me kill Zhang Zhiheng. The second condition is that I want you to help me get something. As long as you can agree to these 2 conditions, I will help you take Aoshue from Zhang Zhiheng. How about it? After hearing the 2 conditions, Longao's face was expressionless. Although Xia Jun's 2 conditions seemed easy, they were actually very dangerous. Firstly, Zhang Zhiheng was an earthly sovereign. With his current strength, it was impossible for him to be Zhang Zhiheng's opponent. Secondly, if Xia Jun was unable to obtain something, it was obvious how difficult it would be to obtain it. Longao, this is your only chance. I refuse. What? You refuse? Xia Jun did not seem to expect that Longao would refuse directly. In his opinion, Longao would agree because Longao could only get Aoshue with his help. Longao, what right do you have to refuse? You should know that Zhang Zhiheng is not only the young master of Golden Sun sect, but also an earthly sovereign. Moreover, he is ranked 3rd on the Wind Cloud list. Without my help, do you think you can take Aoshue away from Zhang Zhiheng? Xia Jun, I don't deny that I must get Aoshue, but I will do it with my own strength and not with the help of others. As for the grudge between you and Zhang Zhiheng, as well as the grudge between Golden Sun sect and Leitang sect, I do not want to get involved, so I refuse. Ha ha, with your own strength. Hearing Longao's words, Xia Jun suddenly laughed out loud. It was as if he had heard the funniest thing in the world. His face was filled with contempt and disdain because a small lightning tribulation was almost the same as an ant in his eyes. Chapter 153. The 5 Transmutation Realms, from lowest to highest, were the Lightning Retribution Realm, the Transformation Realm, the Human King Realm, the Earthly Emperor Realm, and the Tao Ancestor Realm. The gap between the Lightning Retribution Realm and the Human King Realm could be imagined. Ignoring Xia Jun's sarcasm, Longao did not speak, but looked at him coldly. Longao, in 3 months, Zhang Zhiheng and Aoshue will get married in the Ghost King sect. Do you want to steal the bride by yourself? So what? Ha ha, what an arrogant kid. You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Longao, I'm giving you one last chance. Will you cooperate with me? No need. After being refused again, Xia Jun's face finally darkened. He suddenly said, Longao, you rank 11th on the 100 battle ranking and your cultivation has broken through the Lightning Retribution Realm. You can chase after the Fengyun list. According to my estimation, with your current strength, you should be able to rank 70th on the Fengyun list. You're very good in the secular world. The Fengyun list was a list above the 100 battle ranking. There were 900 battle ranking and 9 Fengyun lists in Jiuzhou. The disciples of the 6 biggest sects could not chase after the 100 battle ranking, but the Fengyun list could be chased by anyone. Longao killed Yi Dao and ranked 11th on the 100 battle ranking. Then, under the suppression of Ouyang Zhong's momentum, he triggered the Lightning Retribution and successfully passed it. Therefore, without Xia Jun's words, Longao was full of confidence. With his current strength, not to mention the Fengyan list, he was absolutely qualified to chase after the top 10 of the 100 battle ranking. But now, Longao did not care about the 100 battle ranking and the Fengyan list at all, because there was only one thing in his mind, which was how to steal the bride. 3 months. Just as Xia Jun said, 3 months later would be the wedding day of Ao Xue and Zhang Jiheng. At that time, no matter what happened, he would have to solve this matter. Zhang Jiheng is known as the first genius of the century by the Golden Sun sect. Not only has his cultivation broken through the peak of the earthly emperor realm, but he also ranks third on the Fengyan list. Regarding Zhang Jiheng's matter, Longao almost already knew. In the end, he could only use 4 words to describe him: a genius. As for me, Xia Jun, I'm also a genius, but I've never been able to surpass Zhang Jiheng. I can only rank 4th on the wind cloud list. So I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied. At this moment, after hearing Xia Jun's words, Longao finally understood what Xia Jun was thinking. One was a genius from the Golden Sun sect, and the other was a genius from the Sound of Thunder sect. One of them was ranked 3rd while the other was ranked 4th. Both of them were earthly sovereigns, but there was a huge difference in strength. Although it was only a difference of 1 rank, Longao knew very well what it meant. If I am not convinced, I can rely on my cultivation to gain strength and defeat Zhang Jiheng. Although I don't see eye to eye with him, as a cultivator, I know very well what a cultivator's martial character is. You want to teach me a lesson? Wrong, I'm not lecturing you. I just want to tell you that even if you defeat Zhang Jiheng by relying on schemes and tricks, as a warrior, you've already lost. Xia Jun seemed to be touched. He did not continue speaking, but lowered his head and pondered. After a long time, Xia Jun finally raised his head and said with a smile, "You're very interesting. Longao, I'm looking forward to what will happen in 3 months. I hope you won't let me down." "You're right. As a warrior, I have to rely on my strength to defeat Zhang Jiheng. I won't let you down." "Ha ha ha, good. Longao, I'm looking forward to the day you grow up. 3 months later, when you've settled your affairs, I'll come to you again. Goodbye." Looking at Xia Jun leaving quickly, Longao did not leave. Standing on the peak of the mountain, the cold wind blew fiercely. His eyes were looking at the endless void in front of him. No one knew what he was thinking. 100 battle ranking, wind cloud list. One day, I'll chase after the wind cloud list. Clenching his fists tightly, Longao's face was full of determination. This was because he had decided that 3 months later, no matter what happened, he would make a trip to Ghost King sect. His cultivation had successfully broken through to the lightning retribution realm. However, Longao found that his current strength was still far from enough. The 5 transformations realms. The lightning retribution realm was just the beginning. Whether it was Zhang Jiheng or Xia Jun, they were all earthly sovereign realm warriors. With his strength in the lightning retribution realm, would he be a match for earthly sovereign realm warriors? Strength. No matter where he went, no matter when, strength was the most important. As for the rest, it was all nonsense. The next day, early morning, Longao did not continue to stay in Star Cloud City. Instead, he went to Thunder City. After thinking about it, Longao decided to go to Thunder City to look for Ouyang Zhong. This was because he knew clearly that once Ouyang Zhong recovered from his injuries, not to mention himself, just his family would be in big trouble. Even if he was unwilling to fall out with the Thunder Imperial family, Longao knew that he had to give it a try. This time, Longao considered 2 points before going to the Thunder Imperial family. First, he did not know when Ouyang Zhong would recover from his injuries. Therefore, the earlier he went, the more confident he would be. Second, he had to go to Ghost King's sect 3 months later. Therefore, before he went to Ghost King's sect, he had to settle the matter of Ouyang Zhong. He could not leave any trouble or danger for his family. Thunder City. Longao had just entered Thunder City and was already being watched by various major families, including the Thunder Imperial family. After all, Longao was very famous now. Especially after passing the lightning retribution and severely injuring Ouyang Zhong, he killed millions of soldiers with a single slash. In Thunder City, other than the Thunder Imperial family, there were 3 major families. They were the rank for Long family, Jiang family, and Duanmu family. Just after entering Thunder City, Duanmu Lin and Jiang Jun came to look for trouble. However, they were directly crippled by Longao. If it was before, Duanmu family and Jiang family would definitely not let it go. However, in the current situation, both families chose to remain silent. They did not dare to look for trouble with Longao. As for Longao, in less than 4 hours after entering Thunder City, he welcomed his first old friend, Long Ili. Previously, Long Ili made a deal with Longao. As long as Longao could kill Long Jing, he would give him a 10,000 years old blood Lingji. Since then, the two of them did not have any contact. Because of this, why did Long Ili look for him this time? Longao was very curious. However, the matter between Longao and the Star Cloud royal family was already known to everyone. Moreover, Ouyang Zhong had hidden himself in the Thunder royal family. No one knew who had released the news, but everyone also knew about it. Those with discerning eyes knew that Longao and the Thunder royal family were definitely not on good terms. Since that was the case, wasn't Long Ili afraid of the Thunder royal family this time? Inside the restaurant. In the luxurious restaurant, only Longao and Long Ili were there. The two of them did not speak and only drank wine. Chapter 154. Longao, your growth has exceeded my expectations. I have to admit you're really not bad. Longao didn't have a good impression of Long Ili. He was too scheming, a typical example of killing without blinking, a knife hidden in his smile. What do you want from me this time? Longao's voice was neither cold nor indifferent. In his eyes, Long Ili wasn't a friend. Long Ili naturally knew about this matter, so he said with a smile. Long Jing is already dead, the hatred of so many years has already been avenged. This time I came to find you, other than to say thank you. I also want to ask you one thing. Are you a dragon warrior? Dragon warrior? The reason why the Long family was able to become one of the top families in the martial heaven continent was because of the dragon race. Every dragon martial artist was an incomparably powerful existence. However, the Long family had a rule that only the 3rd rank and above of the Long family's disciples could enter the Dragon Valley. How could Longao not know the meaning of Long Ili's words? What do you think? I think you're a dragon warrior. Longao didn't answer. Because of this, the atmosphere instantly fell into a deadlock. Suddenly, Longao laughed out loud, and said with a smile, Long Ili, I'm really curious. Why would an expert like you want me to kill Long Jing? If it was before, Longao would have been unable to sense Long Ili's true strength. However, it was different now. After successfully passing the lightning tribulation and becoming a lightning tribulation warrior, Longao could clearly sense the powerful aura of Long Ili in front of him, even if Long Ili was deliberately hiding it. Since you've already sensed it, there's no need for me to continue hiding it. As soon as he said that, a terrifying aura suddenly erupted from Longao's body. He thought that he could suppress the other party, but when he was shocked, Longao didn't seem to be moved. Long Ili smiled and said in praise, As expected of the person who scattered the lightning clouds with a single blade. Longao, I'm really curious. Are you a dragon warrior? Long Ili was still unwilling to give up. He was still entangled in this question. Transformation realm. Previously, he didn't dare to be certain, but when Longao released his powerful aura, Longao was finally certain that this young master of the Long family in front of him was a genuine transformation realm warrior. The 5 transmutation realms were divided into the Lightning Tribulation realm, the Transmutation realm, the Human King realm, the Earthly Sovereign realm, and the Tao Ancestor realm. After successfully passing the Lightning Tribulation, one would be able to borrow the power left behind by the lightning tribulation to cleanse one's body and undergo 3 qualitative changes. In other words, there were 3 levels of metamorphosis. First metamorphosis, second metamorphosis, and third metamorphosis. Longao was not sure how many metamorphoses Long Eli had undergone. Long Eli, this hedonistic disciple that everyone ridiculed, was actually a hidden transformed martial artist. If this matter were to spread out, perhaps no one would be willing to believe it. I also want to know. Since you're a transformed martial artist, why don't you take revenge yourself? Longao was not a fool. Of course, he knew that with Long Eli's strength, it would be a simple matter to kill Long Jing. He could even do it flawlessly and not let anyone find out. Long Eli smiled and said, "Because I want to test you. Consider it as giving you a chance." "What chance?" This time, Longao was even more curious. Before this, he and Long Eli did not know each other. Could it be that this person had a special hobby? "Longao, I already know everything about you." Long Eli picked up the wine cup on the table and took a sip. After thinking for a while, Long Eli continued. 10 years ago, you were the #1 genius of Scarlet Fire Town. I don't know why, but you were unable to condense inner strength to achieve an endless cycle. But 10 years later you suddenly rose up. I believe you should have gotten some opportunity. Longao did not speak. He just looked at Long Eli in front of him. Longao, I don't care what opportunity you got. I value your perseverance very much. 10 years of perseverance, even I can't do that. Waving his hand, Longao said at this time, Long Eli, your disguise is also good. On the surface you look like a dandy, but in fact you are a genius. I am very puzzled why the Long family doesn't properly grasp a genius like you. Gotcha. It was unknown whether Longao's words had triggered Long Eli, but he directly smashed the stool beside him into pieces. Humph, Long family. If I wasn't a member of the Long family, I believe I can go even further now. Longao, I am looking for you this time because I want to cooperate with you. Cooperation? Longao, let's get straight to the point. I am a dragon martial artist. I believe you are also a dragon martial artist. If not for fear of the Long family, I would have left the family long ago. And the matter of us being dragon martial artists, we must not let the Long family know. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable. Dragon martial artist? Long Eli was a dragon martial artist? Hearing that Long Eli was also a dragon martial artist, Longao was completely shocked. Because he had never thought that Long Eli would also obtain the recognition of a dragon. Could it be that Long Eli had also entered the Dragon Valley? Longao was very clear in his heart that there were many entrances to the Dragon Valley. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to enter the Dragon Valley and obtain the recognition of this little guy. It seemed that Long Eli was also lucky to obtain the recognition of a dragon and become a dragon martial artist. Long Eli didn't say anything, and Longao also didn't ask much. Longao, a year ago, I inadvertently obtained a treasure map. It recorded a place with 2 drops of Dragon God's blood. As long as we can obtain it and consume it separately, I believe that my strength will greatly increase. Dragon God's blood? Longao had also heard about the Dragon God. As the supreme powerhouse of the Dragon Valley, the Dragon God was the most powerful dragon. It was precisely because of this that Longao was very surprised. Why would this place have 2 drops of Dragon God's blood? As if he could see through Longao's thoughts, Long Eli directly took out the treasure map from his bosom and said, Look for yourself. With just a glance, Longao had already seen it clearly. Although he was very puzzled, this kind of temptation was hard to resist. After all, he was very clear in his heart what 2 drops of Dragon God's blood meant. Longao, I know about the grievances between you and Ouyang Zhong. Forgive me for being blunt, but with your current strength, it is almost impossible to shake the Thunder Empire. Not to mention, the Thunder Empire has the Thunder Sect as their backing. So Longao, there is only one thing you need to do now, and that is to think of a way to increase your strength. Nodding, Longao had also thought about this matter carefully. If his cultivation could break through the transformation realm, then even if Ouyang Zhong recovered from his injuries, he would no longer have to worry. However, Longao was still very curious and asked, Long Ili, I only want to ask you one question. Why did you choose me? Chapter 155. I've already been there, but I couldn't open it. You trust me so much? I've already calculated it. As long as two cultivators at the lightning tribulation realm and above work together, I believe we can open the stone door. Longao didn't continue asking. He knew that without danger there wouldn't be an opportunity. Just as Long Ili had said, with his current strength, it was impossible to shake the Thunder Imperial family, let alone the Sound of Thunder sect. Rather than falling out with the Thunder Imperial family, it was better to try his luck. Once he obtained the Dragon God's blood, his strength might be greatly improved. Once he broke through from the Lightning Tribulation realm to the Transformation realm, he had full confidence that he could kill Ouyang Zhong. Ouyang Zhong was also a Transformation realm cultivator. Thinking of this, Longao didn't continue hesitating. He nodded and agreed. I promise you. Once we obtain the Dragon God blood, I want a drop of it. No problem. We'll set off in 3 days. After Long Ili left, Longao drank alone. He kept thinking about this matter. Long Ili was a dragon warrior? 2 drops of Dragon God blood? Even until now, Longao still couldn't figure out why Long Ili had chosen him. Thinking back and forth, he could only think of one possibility. Could it be that the reason Long Ili had chosen him was because he was also a dragon warrior? Come out. Longao, long time no see. Looks like you've been doing well. After sending Long Ili away, the third prince, Xiao Hao, arrived. Longao despised this prince. If it weren't for the Thunder Imperial family, he would have already killed him. Looking at the old man and the young man who came in, Longao was very surprised because the old man beside Xiao Hao emitted an aura that was clearly a lightning calamity realm martial artist. Scram! Ha ha ha, you want me to scram? What gives you the right? Xiao Hao laughed unscrupulously and suddenly said, Longao, don't think that you're invincible just because you used the power of the lightning tribulation to injure Ouyang Zhong. Today, I'm certain that you're an expert. If you don't kneel down, I'll teach you a lesson. You are? He completely ignored Xiao Hao. In Longao's eyes, the third Prince Xiao Hao was only relying on his good family background. Scum like him deserved to be punished. Longao, I'm Wind Devil from the Lightning National Guard Hall. I'm here to deliver a message. Tomorrow night, the Hallmaster and His Majesty are inviting you to the Imperial Palace. Senior Wind Fiend, please wait. Seeing Wind Demon leave, Xiao Hao was completely terrified. He didn't dare to stay any longer. He got up and chased after Wind Demon. The two disappeared without a trace. The royal family invited him? Under such circumstances, it was obvious that nothing good would come out of the Thunder Royalty's invitation. However, for the sake of the family, Longao knew that he could only go. After all, according to the family's strength, it was still not the time to completely fall out with the Thunder Royalty. Once the Thunder Royal family became desperate and attacked the clan, the consequences would be unimaginable. The next day, dusk, Longao went to the Thunder Royalty alone. Just this courage alone was enough to show disdain for his peers. After entering the Imperial Palace, the entire hall was already filled with people. Longao, who had just stepped into the hall, stared at Ouyang Zhong, who was sitting on the left. As expected, Ouyang Zhong had hidden in the Thunder Royalty. It was also because of this that Longao was even more surprised. He didn't know why the Thunder Royalty and the National Guard Hall had invited him. Could it be that they wanted to deal with him? This didn't seem to make sense. If the Thunder Royalty wanted to deal with him, why bother? They could have just attacked directly. Longao, please take a seat. Longao couldn't understand Zhao Mang. However, since he had already entered the Thunder Royalty, he didn't act rashly and sat down. In the entire hall, other than Emperor Zhao Mang and the National Guard Hall's Hallmaster Gu Bai, there was also Wind Demon, Ouyang Zhong, and the others. Everyone was staring at Longao as if they had some deep hatred. Longao, I already know about the grudge between you and Brother Ouyang. Back then, you borrowed the power of the lightning tribulation to injure Brother Ouyang. Brother Ouyang is already prepared to let bygones be bygones. I hope you can also let bygones be bygones. Let bygones be bygones? Longao snorted coldly in his heart. He wasn't a fool. Ouyang Zhong was seriously injured, so he chose to let bygones be bygones. Once he recovered, would Ouyang Zhong let bygones be bygones? Without a doubt, once Ouyang Zhong recovered, the first person to deal with him would be Ouyang Zhong. Seeing Longao not speaking, Gu Bai was a little unhappy. He said unhappily, Longao, His Majesty is talking to you. Are you willing to suffer a little? The grudge between me and Ouyang Zhong will not end until one of us is dead. Not end until one of us is dead. Longao's meaning was very clear. Because of this, Gu Bai and Zhao Meng's face instantly turned gloomy. As for Ouyang Zhong, his face was extremely gloomy. As a transformation realm cultivator, when had he ever been humiliated like this? However, the power of the lightning tribulation was too terrifying. Ouyang Zhong had calculated that he would need at least 3 months to recover from his injuries. Otherwise, he wouldn't need to borrow the Thunder Imperial family to delay Longao. At this moment, Ouyang Zhong couldn't wait to kill Longao immediately. However, he knew that he couldn't provoke Longao within these 3 months. Otherwise, not only him, but even the Star Cloud Imperial family would be in big trouble. Longao, if revenge breeds revenge, will there ever be an end to it? Your Majesty, since you have said so, I will also take a step back. As long as Ouyang Zhong breaks his arms, the grudge between me and the Star Cloud Imperial family will be bygones. Longao, you've gone too far. Do you really think you're invincible? Longao didn't say anything. He only sneered at Ouyang Zhong. You want to stop just like this? Zhao Meng's face was extremely gloomy. As the Emperor of the Thunder Imperial family, who would dare to go against his will? Unless it was the Sound of Thunder sect. However, Zhao Meng really didn't want to offend Longao because this kid was too unpredictable. The Star Cloud Imperial family was the best example. Thinking of this, Zhao Meng's face returned to normal. He smiled and said, Longao, for my sake, can you write this off? Your Majesty, this kid dares to disrespect the Thunder Imperial family. He should be executed. Zhao Meng waved his hand and said, Brother Gu, leave this matter to me. In that case, Your Majesty, I will take my leave first. As the head of the National Guard Hall, Gu Bai's position wasn't as high as Zhao Meng's in name, but in reality, there wasn't much difference between the two. Because of this, Gu Bai didn't give Zhao Meng any face and quickly turned to leave. Seeing this, the other members of the National Guard Hall, including Wind Demon, all followed Gu Bai. In the entire hall, there were only 3 people left. Emperor Zhao Meng, Old Ancestor Ouyang Zhong, and Longao. Although he was unhappy, Zhao Meng endured it in the end. Chapter 156. Your Majesty, out of respect for you, I'll give Ouyang Zhong 2 choices. Let's hear them. No matter what, Zhao Meng was still the Emperor of the Thunder Imperial family. If he insisted on going his own way, he could only fall out with the Thunder Imperial family. At that time, his family would be in big trouble. For the family, he could only endure for a while. The first choice is for Ouyang Zhong to break his own arms. The second choice is for Ouyang Zhong and me to have a fair fight a month later. Good, I'll fight you a month later. I want to see what makes you so arrogant. Without even thinking, Ouyang Zhong agreed. Although he was seriously injured by the tribulation lightning and needed 3 months to recover, Ouyang Zhong knew that if he didn't accept the challenge and Zhao Meng chose to abandon him, then he would be in big trouble. Ouyang Zhong didn't dare to gamble because Zhao Meng's attitude was very uncertain. Good. Since Brother Ouyang also agrees, then you two will have a battle to the death a month later. Your Majesty, if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. Longao didn't continue to stay. He got up and left quickly, disappearing without a trace. Your Majesty, Longao must die. Longao had just left when Gu Bai came back with a sinister smile. This made Ouyang Zhong very surprised. He didn't know what Gu Bai and Zhao Meng were up to. Zhao Meng also had a sinister smile. Brother Ouyang, I believe you know a thing or two about the relationship between Longao and the Ghost King sect. That's why we can't openly kill Longao. Ghost King sect? Ouyang Zhong naturally knew about the Ghost King sect. As one of the 6 great sects, the Ghost King sect's strength and foundation couldn't be underestimated. Brother Zhao, even if we kill Longao, the Ghost King sect can't provoke the Thunder Imperial sect for one person. If we leave him alive, he'll be a disaster. Zhao Meng just smiled and didn't say anything. Gu Bai said, Brother Ouyang, with your strength, killing Longao won't be a difficult matter. With a bitter smile on his face, Longao said, I was severely injured by the power of the Thunder Calamity. It will take me 3 months to recover my strength. To be honest with you too, I have no confidence in my life or death battle with Longao in a month. As a transformation realm martial artist, Ouyang Zhong felt that he had completely lost face by saying such words. However, the truth was the truth. Gu Bai smiled and said confidently, Brother Ouyang, we have our ways to help you. After leaving the Thunder Royal family, Longao's expression instantly turned gloomy. Gu Bai and Zhao Meng put on a good show. If one did not observe carefully, one would really think that Zhao Meng had offended Gu Bai for him. Longao knew very well that between him and Ouyang Zhong, the Thunder Royal family still chose Ouyang Zhong in the end. 1 month's time. In other words, within this 1 month's time, he had to raise his cultivation level to the transformation realm. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for him to defeat Ouyang Zhong in a 1-month battle. After returning to the inn, Longao immediately entered a state of cultivation. Unknowingly, 3 days had passed. Long Ili and Longao chose to meet outside the Thunder City. According to the location recorded on the treasure map, the cave with the divine dragon blood was not within the Thunder Empire, but within the Blaze Empire. The Blaze Empire was one of the 2 great empires in the Tianzhou region. It was supported by the Blaze sect. For so many years, the Blaze Empire and the Thunder Empire had been fighting both openly and secretly, trying to destroy each other. However, in the end, the Blaze Empire and the Thunder Empire coexisted peacefully. In the end, it was impossible for the Blaze Empire and the Thunder Empire to be destroyed. The reason was very simple. It was because of the Blaze sect and the Thunder sect behind the 2 great empires. In other words, unless there was a victor between the Blaze sect and the Thunder sect, the Thunder Empire and the Blaze Empire would continue to be in this state. The Flame Forest was the largest forest of spirit beasts in the Blaze Empire. It was the heaven of spirit beasts and the hell of warriors. After several days of hurrying, Longao and Long Ili finally arrived at the Flame Forest. Since it was Long Ili's first time, he seemed to be very familiar with the road. He practically didn't encounter any obstacles. Longao followed behind Long Ili. He didn't say anything and also didn't ask anything. He just followed quietly like this. In the Flame Forest, in an extremely secluded valley, Long Ili moved the big stone away, revealing a medium-sized black passage. One couldn't see the end of the passage. Long Ili said, This is the cave with the divine dragon blood. I have already tried it. Relying on my strength alone, I am basically unable to open the invisible stone door. Unless the 2 of us join hands. Invisible stone door? Longao was very curious. He extended his hand and touched the black passage. Sure enough, the black passage was blocked by a layer of invisible chi cover. No matter how hard he tried, he was unable to break open the chi cover. Longao, don't hesitate. Let's join hands and break open the chi cover. Longao nodded his head. Since they had come, he also knew that he had to obtain the divine dragon blood. Perhaps the divine dragon blood was useless for him, but for Long Chang, it was a good thing for him to advance. Longao and Long Ili didn't speak again. Both of them firmly stared at the invisible chi cover in front of them. Suddenly, both of them attacked. two terrifying powers instantly came out, and converged into one power in the midair, then ruthlessly collided with the chi cover. There was no sound, but Long Ili was pleasantly surprised again and again. He basically didn't give Longao any chance to react. With a stride, his entire body had already rushed out. Looking at Long Ili, who had already disappeared inside the black passage, Longao didn't have the slightest bit of worry. Although this was the first time he had come here, but he didn't know why, but he always felt that this matter was somewhat unusual. Taking a step, Longao entered the black passage without any hurry. Just after he entered, he dodged to the side and his complexion instantly became cold. He said, "Long Ili, you are shameless." Long Ili, who had already entered the black passage, suddenly began to attack Longao. A transformed warrior was always a transformed warrior. One could well imagine the strength of Long Ili. He was completely comparable to Longao. "Longao, hand over your dragon companion. Otherwise, today will be the day of your death. Dream on." Longao wasn't an idiot. He finally understood the meaning of Long Ili. First, he wanted to break open the chi cover with him. Second, he wanted to snatch his companion Long Chang. Third, he didn't want to share the divine dragon blood with him. Long Ili's attack rolled over. Even if Longao had full confidence, he didn't dare to meet force with force. He repeatedly retreated and was directly blasted out of the black passage by Long Ili. His complexion was gloomy to the extreme. Longao was already very vigilant. He was afraid that the other party would play some trick, but he had never thought that Long Ili would attack at this time. "Longao, you definitely don't have a share of the divine dragon blood. Now I will give you one last chance. Hand over your dragon companion." Chapter 157. Longao did not speak much nonsense, because he already knew Long Ili's purpose, so it was useless to say more. Longao didn't believe that Long Ili would dare to come out. Longao wasn't a fool. He knew that Long Ili must be afraid of him. Otherwise, Long Ili would have come out. Just as Longao had thought, Long Ili was indeed very fearful. However, one had to know that Longao was only a unification realm martial artist back then. However, under the suppression of a transformation realm martial artist's aura, he attracted the lightning tribulation. Not only did he successfully pass through the lightning tribulation, he even heavily injured Ouyang Zhong. It was because of this that Long Ili didn't dare to step out of the cave. Moreover, there were 2 drops of divine dragon blood in the cave. Long Ili definitely wouldn't give up such a rare opportunity. After waiting for a full minute, Longao once again took a step forward and entered the cave. This time, he didn't get attacked. Longao already knew that between him and the 2 drops of divine dragon blood, Long Ili finally chose the 2 drops of divine dragon blood. Longao didn't hesitate. He sped up and went into the depths of the tunnel. The entire tunnel was extremely long. After running for a long time, he finally saw a glimmer of light. Delighted, Longao came to the edge of the tunnel. Looking at the huge cave in front of him, he didn't immediately step in. Instead, his face was filled with shock. The entire cave was extremely huge and covered with spider webs. The spider webs were intertwined with each other. They were blood red and emitted a strange aura. "Longao, come and save me!" Long Ili, who had just stepped into the cave, was tightly entangled by the huge spider webs. Even his strength was suppressed. "Longao, as long as you save me, the 2 drops of divine dragon blood are yours. I don't want a single drop. You reap what you sow." Longao smiled. Originally, according to their agreement, they came to the cave together. The 2 drops of divine dragon blood would be 1 drop each. However, Long Ili went back on his words. Just as Longao had said, Long Ili reaped what he sowed. "Longao, as long as you are willing to help me, I will tell you a secret about the dragon warrior." "How about it?" "The secret of the dragon warriors?" If he said he wasn't tempted, then he would be lying. But Longao still didn't choose to help. The reason was very simple: Long Ili was too shameless. God knows if he would turn around and continue to attack him if he saved him. Longao, in the Long family, there is a secret regarding the dragon warrior. As long as you can obtain it, you will be able to become one with the dragon and increase your strength. Think about it, what does this mean? Man and dragon as one? Superposition of strength? Longao naturally understood the meaning of Long Ili's words. Man and dragon as one, superimposing their strength. Just this point alone was enough to tempt him. However, Longao did not immediately believe it. After all, who knew if what Long Ili said was true or false? Tightly bound by the spider web, Long Ili couldn't wait to leave immediately. In a hurry, he said, Longao, the secret of man and dragon as one is in my bosom. Come and take it. Long Ili, I advise you to give up. You only have yourself to blame for this. No matter what, I will not help you. Directly ignoring Long Ili, Longao began to size up the surrounding environment. The entire cave was covered with spider webs. Each and every blood-red spider web was like a big mouth that wanted to swallow everything. Just at this time, a terrifying bloody aura instantly shrouded the entire cave. Shocked, Longao looked over and discovered that in the depths of the cave, two suns suddenly lit up. They were shining with golden light and emitted a bloody aura. What is this thing? Long Ili, who was entangled in the spider web, cried out in alarm and immediately released his dragon companion. As a dragon warrior, under normal circumstances, Long Ili would not dare to reveal the secret that he was a dragon warrior. A 3-meter-long earth-yellow dragon appeared. At the same time when Long Ili was full of confidence, the earth dragon was directly bound by the spider web. It was even suppressed by the bloody aura and was unable to move. Not to mention Long Ili, even Longao was incomparably shocked. This was because the most mysterious creature was also the most terrifying existence. Until now, he still did not know what was in the depths of the cave. He could only see two huge blood-red eyes, which looked incomparably strange. Longao, save me! Longao was not a fool. In this kind of situation, how could he save an enemy? At this time, the two blood-red eyes shot out two blood-red lights which directly covered Long Ili and the earth dragon. Ah! A blood-curdling scream resounded. Longao's face became gloomy because at this time, he finally saw what the creature in the depths of the cave was. It was a blood-red spider the size of a small mountain with 8 sharp blade legs. Before Longao could figure out the situation, a terrifying bloody aura had already covered him. Then, several blood-red spider webs pulled his legs and directly pulled him into the cave. Longao would not choose to sit still and wait for death. Holding the bloodthirst blade, he instantly slashed out a blade light. The blade light contained the power of thunder tribulation, and the power of thunder tribulation happened to be the nemesis of the bloody aura. Because of this, the blood-red spider felt pain and retracted its spider web. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Longao quickly landed on the ground and hid in a concave space beside the wall. After being struck by the power of tribulation lightning, the blood-red spider furiously roared. It vented all of its anger on Long Ili and the earth dragon. Although Long Ili was a transformation realm martial artist and a dragon martial artist, the strength of the blood-red spider was too powerful. Long Ili didn't even have the chance to resist. He was directly swallowed up, and even the earth dragon became a delicious meal for the blood-red spider. Longao, who was hiding in the cave, saw Long Ili and the earth dragon being eaten. He fiercely cursed in his heart. This time, he was completely tricked. Not only did he not obtain the 2 drops of divine dragon blood, he actually encountered such a powerful spirit beast. At this moment, Longao had already begun to doubt the intention of the treasure map. Could it be that someone deliberately did this? Master, your luck is really good. My luck is really good. He was very confused and did not know what Long Fu meant. His soul entered the dragon seal space and asked straightforwardly, Long Fu, what do you mean? Master, you don't know. The spirit beast in this cave is called the 9 Abyss Underground Spider. It is the natural enemy of the dragon clan. It can be said that it will not rest until it is dead. Just now, I have already sensed that the strength of this 9-abyss underground spider should be at the peak of Tao Ancestor. Peak of Tao Ancestor? Of course, Longao knew what the peak of the Tao Ancestor realm meant. It was the 5 transformations. The peak of the Tao Ancestor realm was the peak of the Tao Ancestor realm. Longao had never expected that the 9-nether underground spider outside would have the strength of a peak Tao Ancestor realm. Longao now finally knew why Long Ili did not even have the chance to resist, and was directly swallowed by the 9-abyss underground spider. Chapter 158. Longao's expression was somewhat solemn. The 9 serene underground spider at the peak of the Tao Ancestor realm was not something he could fight against. Did he have to hide here for the rest of his life? After cursing Long Fu in his heart, Longao asked, Long Fu, what do you mean? Longao was not a fool. Of course, he knew that Long Fu must have something good to tell him. Otherwise, under normal circumstances, Long Fu would not look for him. Master, as long as you can destroy this 9 serene underground spider, I am confident that I can help you refine an extremely powerful soul slave or corpse slave. Long Fu had an expression on his face for the first time. At this moment, Long Fu was a little more human. Destroy the 9 serene underground spider? Longao fiercely swallowed his saliva. Eliminating the 9 serene deep ground spider was equivalent to asking him to eat the sun in the sky. It was almost impossible. After all, the difference in strength between him and the 9 serene deep ground spider was too great. The peak of the Tao Ancestor realm was a super-existence above the earthly emperor. Long Fu, you should know the strength of the 9 serene underground spider and I. Do you think that I can destroy the 9 serene underground spider with my strength? Master, under normal circumstances, you definitely can't. But now, not only is the 9 serene underground spider seriously injured, but it is also sealed here and can't leave. Sealed? Hearing Long Fu's words, Longao seemed a little surprised. Who sealed the 9 serene underground spider? The peak of the Tao Ancestor realm was enough to sweep across Tianzhou. Could it be that the one who sealed the 9 serene underground spider was a peak Tao Ancestor? In that case, why didn't this person directly kill the 9 serene underground spider? Why did he have to find trouble like this? He was really unlucky to have run into him. Spreading out his hands, Longao said with a depressed face, Long Fu, the strength of the 9 serene deep ground spider is too strong. Even if I am seriously injured, it is impossible for me to be his opponent. Master, I have a way. Hearing Long Fu's words, Longao was overjoyed. After all, it would be a lie to say that he wasn't moved by such a temptation. As Long Fu had just said, according to the strength of the 9th ghastly underground spider, once it was refined into a soul slave or a corpse slave, it would at least have the strength of a Tao Ancestor. In that case, wouldn't he be able to do whatever he wanted in the Tianzhou? Master, the strength of both you and the little fellow is almost at the lightning tribulation realm. Once you work together and find the power of the seal, you'll definitely be able to eliminate the 9 netherworld or spider. Little guy. Longao was very clear in his heart that he and Long Chan had become dragon companions. Once his cultivation made a breakthrough, the little guy's cultivation would also make a breakthrough. On the contrary, if the little guy's cultivation made a breakthrough, his own cultivation would also make a breakthrough. This was the strength of a dragon warrior. Long Fu, where should I go to find the sealing power? Master, we'll look for the sealing power later. Right now, the most important thing is that you and the little fellow must achieve the union of man and dragon. That way, once you join forces, your strength will increase exponentially. Union of man and dragon? Longao was pleasantly surprised because he had always thought that the union of man and dragon that Long Ili talked about was just a bluff. Now, it seemed that the union of man and dragon was true. Immediately after, a message appeared in Longao's mind. It was about the confidence of achieving the union of man and dragon. It was easy to say, but it was incomparably difficult to do. Fortunately, he had already been recognized by the little fellow. They could be considered to have a tacit understanding. He believed that he would be able to achieve twice the result with half the effort. It was precisely because of this that Longao did not hesitate at all. He immediately summoned the little fellow and began to practice the union of man and dragon. According to the information that Long Fu had passed to him, there were many types of union of man and dragon. In other words, the power was different. It depended on one's luck. For an entire month, Longao had been hiding in the cave to cultivate. Furthermore, he had merged with the little fellow to cultivate the so-called union of man and dragon. In this month, the 9-abyss underground spider had been frantically searching for Longao. It had also found him. But coincidentally, the wall that Longao was hiding in was the center of the seal. No matter how powerful the 9-abyss underground spider was, it did not dare to approach the wall. It could only be angry but did not dare to approach. After an entire month, Longao and Long Chan had finally succeeded in breaking in and reaching the so-called union of man and dragon. A dragon's roar resounded throughout the entire cave. Divine Dragon Arm Longao and Long Chan had reached the so-called union of man and dragon. They possessed a brand new ability. Although they had not truly used it, Longao had full confidence that once the little fellow merged with his right arm, its power would definitely be terrifying. His soul entered the dragon's seal space. Longao went straight to the point and asked, "Long Fu, I have now reached the union of man and dragon with the little fellow. Quickly tell me, where is the seal's power?" "Master, the wall that you are at is the location of the seal's power." "Ah?" Longao was very surprised. He had never thought that the wall that he had unintentionally hidden in was the center of the seal. No wonder the 9-abyss underground spider had not dared to come in to kill him over the past month. So this was the reason. "Long Fu, what should I do?" This was the first time that Longao had encountered such a situation. Even though he was at the center of the seal, he did not know what to do. How could he use the seal's power to deal with the 9-abyss underground spider? "Master, it's very simple. Wait for me to activate the seal here. Once the 9-abyss underground spider is attacked by the seal's power, you will have a chance to eliminate the 9-abyss underground spider." Longao was not a fool. Of course, he knew that although this matter seemed simple, it was actually very dangerous. If he was not careful, he would be consigned to eternal damnation. In any case, the difference in strength between him and the 9-abyss underground spider was too great. They were not on the same level at all. It was a peak Tao ancestor. Even if it was seriously injured and attacked by the power of the seal, it was still very dangerous for Longao to destroy the 9-abyss earthworm. That was why Longao took a deep breath and prepared himself well before he was ready to deal with the 9-abyss earthworm. "Master, have you thought about it? Once you eliminate the 9-abyss underground spider, do you want to refine it into a soul slave or a corpse slave?" Longao also knew what this meant. After all, soul slaves and corpse slaves were two different existences. According to the soul slaves and corpse slaves refined in the blood pool, corpse slaves were much weaker than soul slaves. However, corpse slaves had one advantage. Corpse slaves could leave the dragon seal space alone, but soul slaves could not. After thinking for a while, Longao said, "Long Fu, help me refine a soul slave." After thinking for a while, Longao finally decided to refine the 9-abyss underground spider into a soul slave. Because the family already had the fire qilin, ordinary warriors could not invade the family at all. In this case, if he could refine the 9-abyss underground spider into a soul slave, it could help him. Long Fu nodded and said, "Master, after 2 hours, I will activate the seal here. At that time, you will have to go all out." Chapter 159. Go all out? Of course, Longao knew what it meant to fail. Quietly adjusting his state, 2 hours passed in the blink of an eye. Just then, Longao realized that a terrifying power had appeared on the cave wall that he was in. It was even stronger than the power of the 9-abyss underground spider. Could this be the sealing power? There was no need to ask. Longao knew that Long Fu had unlocked the sealing power. Without any hesitation, Longao and Long Chang merged into one. Long Chang turned into a black stream of air and entered Longao's right arm. Then, Longao's right arm began to change and expanded into a fist. A purplish-black dragon appeared on his right arm. It looked very lifelike. The dragon god's arm was a mystique created by Longao and Long Chang after merging into one. This was also Longao's first time using the dragon god's arm. As for the power of the dragon god's arm, even Longao himself didn't know. Longao took a big stride forward. Before he arrived, his powerful aura had already restricted him. Holding the bloodthirst manic saber, the 8 styles of bloodthirst instantly overlapped and slashed at the spider's web. According to Long Fu's instructions, the spider's web was the foundation of the 9-abyss underground spider. If he wanted to destroy the 9-abyss underground spider, the spider's web was the first priority. The 9-abyss underground spider, who had been depressed for a month, suddenly saw the other party appear. Enraged, its huge body pounced over. However, at this moment, a terrifying sealing power came from all directions. The 9-abyss underground spider was shocked. He couldn't care less about continuing to attack, and used all his strength to resist the sealing power coming from all directions. The sealing power. It was the sealing power that had sealed him for so many years. Of course, the 9-abyss underground spider didn't want to repeat the same mistake. Seeing that the sealing power had succeeded in suppressing the 9-abyss earth spider, Longao was overjoyed. At the same time, the divine dragon's arm smashed forward. Accompanied by a dragon's roar, the divine dragon's arm exuded a powerful aura. Longao's speed was very fast. Just as the 9-abyss earthworm spider was doing its best to resist the sealing power around it, Longao's divine dragon arm had already smashed heavily onto the 9-abyss earthworm spider's head. The 9-abyss underground spider let out a miserable shriek. Worthy of being a peak Tao ancestor, it twitched its entire body wildly. Longao did not dare to be careless. With the divine dragon arm and the wild devouring saber, he started to close in on the 9 netherworld underground spider, forcing it into the cave walls. Longao knew very well that since this power could seal the 9-abyss earth spider, it was obvious just how powerful it was. It was precisely because of this that Longao was prepared to force the 9-abyss earth spider into the cave wall. Peak Tao ancestor. Lightning tribulation realm. The difference between the two was too great. They were not on the same level at all. Under normal circumstances, it was almost impossible for Longao to close in on the 9-abyss earthworm spider step by step. However, the situation was completely different now. The sealing power alone was enough to give the 9-abyss earthworm spider a headache. Looking at the cave wall not far away, the 9-abyss earthworm spider certainly knew what the human meant. It roared furiously, but it was suppressed by the sealing power. There was no way it could do anything. In this way, under Longao's pressure, the 9-abyss earthworm spider was finally forced into the cave wall. The sealing power around it surged in like an ocean, attacking crazily. Each wave was stronger than the previous one, and the momentum was monstrous. The 9-abyss earthworm spider was completely panicked. It tried its best to resist the sealing power coming from all around. However, no matter how hard it tried, it was in vain. Self-explosion. In the end, the 9-abyss earthworm spider did not choose to surrender or anything else. Instead, it chose to self-explode, which was the so-called mutual destruction. Longao had never thought that the 9-abyss earthworm spider would choose to self-explode. Looking at the huge cave, he did not dare to stay any longer. However, the cave entrance was still far away. He believed that he would die before he could leave. Mutual destruction. The 9-abyss earthworm spider emitted a terrifying power that scattered in all directions. At this moment, Long Fu's voice sounded again. After hearing it, Longao was overjoyed. He quickly rushed toward the cave wall on the left. Before he arrived, the blood-sucking broadsword in his hand had already slashed out fiercely. As expected, just as Long Fu said, there was a stone door on the cave wall on the left. After the broadsword light passed through, a layer of air appeared inside. It was like a white halo that was constantly wriggling. Overjoyed, Longao did not care about anything else. He took a big stride forward and disappeared into the milky white halo. As soon as Longao's foot disappeared, the 9 abyss earthworm spider's body exploded. This time, he had risked his life to refine the 9 abyss earthworm spider. But what was the result? Longao had never thought that the 9 abyss earthworm spider would choose to self-explode. After all, no matter if it was a cultivator or a spirit beast, once they chose to self-explode, not only their body, but even their soul would vanish. They would not be able to enter the cycle of reincarnation. It was precisely because of this that unless it was a last resort, no one would be willing to self-explode. However, at this moment, the blood-red spider web in the surroundings began to cover the entire cave again. It emitted an even more bizarre power. The soul of the 9 abyss earthworm spider that had just self-exploded suddenly appeared. It turned into countless blood-red lights and scattered in a certain part of the cave. If Longao was here, he would definitely be so shocked that he would be unable to close his mouth. This was because everyone knew that no matter if it was a cultivator or a spirit beast, once they self-exploded, they would vanish. But now, the 9 abyss earthworm spider had chosen to self-explode, but its soul had scattered and completely merged with the spider web. At this moment, Long Ili, who had just been devoured by the 9 abyss earthworm spider, suddenly reappeared in the cave. The only difference was that the current Long Ili was an illusory figure formed by traces of blood-red lights. As for the earthen dragon, it was also an illusory figure formed by traces of blood-red lights. Long Ili's gloomy face was filled with anger, unwillingness, and resentment. It turned out that when Long Ili was devoured by the 9 abyss earthworm spider, and his body was destroyed, his soul did not disappear. Instead, it was in the 9 abyss earthworm spider's body. This time, the 9 abyss earthworm spider had chosen to self-explode. Other than not wanting to be killed, the more important reason was to borrow its soul to leave this place. Under normal circumstances, it was almost impossible for the 9 abyss earthworm spider to break the seal and leave the cave. It was precisely because of this that the 9 abyss earthworm spider had decided to devour Long Ili and borrow his soul to leave the cave. "My lord, please don't destroy my soul. I can bring you to the Dragon Valley." The 9 abyss earthworm spider and the giant dragon were natural enemies. Because of this, Long Ili wanted to protect his soul. He knew that once his soul was devoured, he would really have no chance to turn the situation around. "Ha ha ha, kid, don't play tricks with me. As long as I can leave this place, there is nothing that I can't do. However, seeing that you have helped me, I will not devour your soul. I have already devoured the earthen dragon's soul. I will lend you my body." Chapter 160. Master, what should we do about Longao? Long Ili's soul had taken over the body of the earth dragon. Naturally, he was unwilling to let Longao go. In Long Ili's opinion, it was all thanks to Longao that he had fallen to such a state. Humans were just like that. It was really ridiculous. Waving his hand, the 9 depths underground spider said coldly, "Let's leave this place first." After saying that, the 9 depths underground spider took Long Ili and left quickly. Perhaps it was really afraid. After all, the sealing power in the cave had sealed the 9 depths underground spider for so many years. After entering the air cover of the stone door, Longao came to another huge cave. Before Longao could take a closer look, he discovered 3 corpses on the ground not far away. Out of curiosity, Longao went over to the 3 corpses and discovered a piece of bloody cloth beside them. Picking up the bloody cloth from the ground, Longao glanced at it, and his expression changed. It turned out that the bloody cloth recorded information about the 9 depths underground spider. The 3 corpses were called the 3 ancestors Scarlet Sky. They were Qi Jun, Qi Feng, and Qi Lin. The three of them were Peak Tao ancestors. The three of them had accidentally encountered the 9 Depths underground spider. They wanted to kill it and obtain its beast core. After fighting, the three of them found that even if they joined forces, they were no match for the 9 Depths underground spider. However, the three ancestors Scarlet Sky were still unwilling to give up. They thought of countless ways to kill the 9 Depths underground spider. As the saying goes, the heavens reward those who work hard. Finally, the three of them found a treasure called the God Sealing Pearl. With the help of the God Sealing Pearl, they sealed the 9 Depths underground spider. Just as the three of them were about to kill the 9 Depths underground spider, an accident happened. In the end, the three ancestors Scarlet Sky were all killed, but the 9 Depths underground spider was successfully sealed. It could be said that the three ancestors Scarlet Sky and the 9 Depths underground spider had perished together. God Sealing Pearl? Longao was very curious. He did not know how powerful the treasure that the three ancestors Scarlet Sky obtained was and how it could seal the 9 Depths underground spider. The strength of the 9 Serenities underground spider, who was at the peak of the Tao ancestor realm, could be imagined. Even if 3 Tao ancestor warriors of the same level joined forces, they could not kill the 9 Serenities underground spider. It was easy to imagine how terrifying the strength of the 9 Serenities underground spider was. Putting down the bloody cloth, Longao did not touch the 3 corpses. Instead, he found a place to sit down and began to recuperate. Longao calculated the time. It had been more than a month since he came to the fire forest. It could be counted as 32 days. In other words, the agreement between him and Ouyang Zhong had already passed. Thunder Empire. Thunder Imperial Family, Main Hall. Gu Bai, Zhao Meng, and even Ouyang Zhong's expressions were extremely gloomy. They had never imagined that Longao would fail to show up. Your Majesty, it seems that this child is afraid. Waving his hand, Zhao Meng gravely said, Brother Ouyang, based on my understanding of Longao, he would never miss an appointment. Something must have happened. Gu Bai nodded and said, No matter what happened, this child must be killed. Your Majesty, I've already ordered everyone to search for Longao's whereabouts. Ouyang Zhong's expression darkened. He said, Brother Gu, why don't we destroy the Long family of Scarlet Fire Town first? Before Ouyang Zhong could finish, Gu Bai said coldly, Ouyang Zhong, His Majesty and I are willing to help you because the Nebula Imperial family is a subsidiary of the Thunder Imperial family. However, I hope you won't drag us down with you for such a shameless thing like destroying Scarlet Fire Town. Ouyang Zhong was a little confused. He did not know what was wrong with Gu Bai. Snorting coldly, Gu Bai said, Let's not drag Longao's family into this. Ouyang Zhong, when your Nebula Imperial family dealt with Scarlet Fire Town, you provoked public anger. I can say with certainty that if you were not still alive, the Nebula Imperial family would not have lasted more than a year. Although he didn't say anything, Ouyang Zhong didn't agree with it. If he wasn't injured by the power of the lightning tribulation, the ones who would be destroyed would be Longao and the Scarlet Fire Town. If that was the case, would Gu Bai and the Thunder Imperial family still say that? Ouyang Zhong despised Gu Bai in his heart, but did not say anything. Brother Ouyang, Brother Gu's intention is to tell you that no matter if you are an Imperial family or a cultivator, don't drag Scarlet Fire Town into this. After all, Scarlet Fire Town is too weak for us. We don't want to be ridiculed by the world. Thank you, Your Majesty. Glancing at Gu Bai, Zhao Meng continued, Brother Gu, no matter what, you have to find Longao for me. Fire Forest, in a nameless cave. Longao rested for an entire day and night before opening his eyes and standing up. Walking over to the 3 skeletons, Longao prepared to search for the so-called soul-sealing pearl. Longao was very curious about the treasure that the Scarlet Sky 3 ancestors had found. At this time, the 3 skeletons suddenly released their soul auras. Sensing the soul auras, Longao took 3 steps back in shock and stared at the 3 skeletons in front of him. 3 souls appeared and stood in a row with smiles on their faces. The Scarlet Sky 3 ancestors? Although he was unwilling to admit it, Longao was very certain that the 3 souls that had suddenly appeared before him were the Scarlet Sky 3 ancestors that had sealed the 9 Hell Underworld spider. Ha ha, very smart little fellow. Correct, we are the Scarlet Sky 3 ancestors. I believe you have already seen the records on the blood cloth. We did not disturb you for an entire day and night. Longao calmed down instead. He knew very well that if the Scarlet Sky 3 ancestors wanted to harm him, they would not have waited until now. Kid, since you were able to enter here, I believe the 9 Hell Underworld spider outside has already fallen. The 9 Hell Underworld spider chose to self-destruct. Nodding, Qi-jun thought for a moment before suddenly saying, "Hand over your body and we can let your soul go. Otherwise, your soul will be destroyed." Hand over his body? Longao's expression changed instantly. He knew very well that although the Scarlet Sky 3 ancestors had already fallen, they were still Dao ancestors. Even if they had turned into souls, they would still possess the strength of a peak earthly sovereign or even a Dao ancestor. If that was the case, would he be able to resist the combined strength of the Scarlet Sky 3 ancestors? You're not willing? The Scarlet Sky 3 ancestors sneered. Confidence was written all over his face. Under normal circumstances, once the 3 of them died, their souls would either enter the cycle of reincarnation or immediately vanish. However, it was because of the soul-sealing pearl that their souls survived. Even so, their souls could only exist in this cave. Once they left the cave, they would immediately vanish. The situation of the Scarlet Sky 3 ancestors, the 9 Hell Underworld spider and Long Li was completely different. The reason why the 9 Hell Underworld spider and Long Li could exist in soul form was because they were gathered by the 9 Hell Underworld spider's power. Therefore, they could leave the cave and exist independently. 3 chapters today. 4 chapters tomorrow. Thunderstorms, one after another. Little mind does not dare to write. Please forgive me. Chapter 161. Longao stood quietly in place. The 3 Scarlet Heavens ancestors were all at the peak of the Tao ancestor realm. How should he deal with this? For a moment, Longao didn't know what to do, because the gap between realms was difficult to make up for with other things. Seeming to be able to read his mind, Qi-lin sneered and said, "Boy, as long as you hand over your body and leave your soul here to cultivate, we can guarantee that you will reach the Tao ancestor realm in less than 100 years. Once you have the chance, you can also seize someone else's body and leave immediately." Shameless. Cursing in his heart, Longao asked, "What if I don't want to?" Hearing this, the 3 were stunned for a moment, and then they all laughed wildly, their laughter full of ridicule and contempt. Without any nonsense, the 3's soul power suppressed at the same time. The 3 Tao ancestor souls joined forces, the power could be imagined. With Longao's strength alone, it was impossible to resist. But Longao didn't sit still and wait for death. Clenching his fists, he instantly threw out the first move of the blood-drinking 8 styles, the second move of the Yellow Spring 9 consecutive strikes, the second move of the heart-devouring ice seal, the third move of the raging sea of flames, and the fourth move of the sword ray of destruction. The 4 moves instantly superimposed and directly smashed out. After devouring the thunder tribulation and fusing with it for so many days, Longao at this moment could be considered to have completely integrated with the power of the thunder tribulation. The power of the thunder tribulation was the most powerful force in the world, and it was the nemesis of the soul. Longao didn't know about this. It was precisely because of this that the 5th light and the 3 souls fiercely helped each other. Then, 3 screams resounded throughout the cave. Seeing the 3 souls retreat in panic, Longao seemed to be a little dumbfounded. He didn't know what had happened. Was it the power of the thunder tribulation? In an instant, Longao had already understood what had happened. In addition to the power of the thunder tribulation being the nemesis of the soul, the blood-drinking 8 styles, could also restrain the soul. With the two superimposed, one could imagine the power. After successfully repelling the 3 souls, Longao also breathed a sigh of relief. The power of the thunder tribulation? Boy, why do you have the power of the thunder tribulation? Third forefather Scarlet Sky simply couldn't understand how the other party could borrow the power of tribulation lightning. Since his cultivation had broken through to the lightning tribulation realm, the 3 of them naturally knew that the other party must have passed the lightning tribulation. This was not something to worry about. What made the 3 of them feel inconceivable was that the other party could actually use the power of the lightning tribulation. This was simply unheard of. As long as a unification realm warrior could successfully survive the power of the lightning tribulation, he would store a portion of the power of the lightning tribulation in his body and wait for the lightning tribulation to cleanse his body and transform him. Containing the power of thunder calamity and using the power of thunder calamity were 2 different concepts. The faces of the 3 Scarlet Heaven's ancestors sunk to the extreme after being forced back by the force of the tribulation lightning. They were as ugly as they could be because they knew very well that the force of the tribulation lightning was the bane of souls. What does it have to do with you whether I possess the power of the lightning tribulation or not? Arrogant and conceited. However, the 3 of them knew that the other party had the right to be arrogant. If they were in their true bodies and not souls, it would be a simple matter to kill the other party. Even if the other party had the power of the tribulation lightning, they would still be in existence like an ant. However, the situation now was completely different. The 3 of them were still souls. If they were careless and were trapped by the power of the tribulation lightning, the consequences would be unimaginable. They might even vanish into thin air. Kid, just who are you? It was obvious that someone who possessed the power of the tribulation lightning was no ordinary person. The 3 of them finally turned serious and wanted to know the other party's identity. What does it have to do with you who I am? Kid, you? Not giving the 3 forefathers any chance to continue asking, Longao sneered and said, No need to ask. No matter what it is, it has nothing to do with you. Hearing this, the 3 forefathers were immediately enraged but did not attack. Suddenly, the 3 forefathers laughed sinisterly. Their laughter made Longao's hair stand on end. He didn't know what the 3 of them were up to. At this moment, Qi-jun suddenly took out a fist-sized gray-black sphere from his bosom. It exuded layers of light and looked extremely bizarre. If it was before, Longao definitely wouldn't have recognized it. However, after seeing the bloody cloth, he naturally knew what this sphere was. The soul-sealing pearl? Even now, Longao still didn't know what it was or how powerful it was. However, Longao was very clear that it was extremely powerful. Otherwise, the 3 forefathers would have been able to use the pearl to seal the netherworld earth spider despite being at a disadvantage. Kid, no need to be arrogant. I'd like to see just how you'll escape my soul-sealing pearl. Big brother, don't waste words with him. Let him try out the power of the soul-sealing pearl first. When the time comes, we'll slowly play with him. Qi-jun nodded and smiled. Kid, are you ready? Longao didn't answer. His whole body was on guard. In fact, Longao also wanted to see how powerful the soul-sealing pearl was. At this moment, the pearl in Qi-jun's hand suddenly emitted a black light. It was so fast that it didn't give Longao any chance to react. It directly enveloped the entire cave, including him. Freeze? Longao found that after being enveloped by the light, his body was actually frozen in place. He couldn't move at all. In just an instant, Longao already knew that the soul-sealing pearl's ability was to freeze the opponent in place. If he were a Dao ancestor, he believed that he would be able to break free very quickly. But now, his realm was too low, and it was difficult to break free. Longao was also shocked because he never thought that the soul-sealing pearl could actually lock him in place. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. Ha ha, kid, aren't you very arrogant? Big brother, don't waste words with him. The 3 of us are sharing a body. After we leave, We'll find a way to seize someone else's body. You guys deliberately spread the treasure map. Hearing the other party's sudden question, the three of them were stunned at first, then laughed again. Qifeng said, "You're really smart." "That's right. Although we had the soul-sealing pearl to deal with the 9-abyss underground spider, we didn't have full confidence. So in order to prevent trouble before it happens, we spread the treasure map. Kid, you can't blame anyone for this. You can only blame yourself for being too greedy." Of course, Longao knew that he couldn't blame anyone for this, but he wouldn't let himself be trampled on. However, Longao was locked in place. Not to mention attacking the enemy, it was impossible for him to even move. It was precisely because of this that Qilin walked over step by step with a sinister smile. When he was about 10 meters away, a dragon's roar suddenly sounded. Then, a 3-meter-long black dragon directly appeared in midair of the cave. In an instant, the entire cave was filled with a powerful dragon's breath. Chapter 162. Feeling the dragon's breath, hearing the dragon's roar, and watching the dragon dance, the three of them were completely dumbfounded. Dragon warrior! As a Dao ancestor, the three Scarlet Heavens ancestors naturally knew what a dragon warrior meant. Long family was considered the top existence in the Tianwu continent. Aside from their own strength and foundation, the biggest reason was the Dragon Valley. Humans and dragons fused together to form a powerful dragon warrior. But everyone knew that not every Long family disciple could become a dragon warrior. Long family had a very strict hierarchy. Only Long family disciples of rank 3 and above had the chance to enter the Dragon Valley to obtain companions, and they had to go through layers of selection. It was because of this that the three of them were completely stunned when they saw the dragon summoned by the other party. Long family? Could it be that the other party was a rank 3 Long family disciple? Long Chang's sudden appearance coupled with the shock of the three, Longao, who was locked on by the God-sealing pearl, instantly recovered his ability to move. He did not dare to hesitate, and took the initiative to strike first. Longao's body shot out like an arrow. Longao was not a fool. He knew very well that with his strength, once locked on by the God-sealing pearl, he would be at the mercy of the other party. There was no chance. So Longao chose to strike first. No matter what, the three of them were still souls. No matter how strong they were, the lightning tribulation was their nemesis. Before the person arrived, the terrifying lightning tribulation was already pressing down fiercely. Not only that, Longao held the wild blood devour saber and slashed out instantly. The 4 forms of blood devour quickly overlapped, followed by the lightning tribulation. Deeply shocked by the dragon, the three of them were already attacked before they could ask anything. Plop! Not knowing if it was because he could not dodge in time, under the dual attack of the lightning tribulation and the shocking saber light, Qi Jun could not dodge. He did not even have the time to activate the God-sealing pearl. In a hurry, he threw the God-sealing pearl in his hand. God-sealing pearl. Longao had already seen the power of the God-sealing pearl, and was overjoyed. He rushed out and held the God-sealing pearl tightly in his hand. Kid, return my God-sealing pearl. Return it to you? Longao looked at the three of them with disdain. He really didn't know if water had entered their brains or if they had been kicked by a donkey. Big brother, you! Waving his hand, Qi Jun's face was gloomy to the extreme. He had thrown the God-sealing pearl out of desperation. Otherwise, he wouldn't have acted like this. First, he was shocked by the giant dragon. Then, without any preparation, he was attacked by the power of tribulation lightning and the shocking saber light. He did not even have the time to activate the God-sealing pearl. Good stuff, really good stuff. Brat, hand over the God-sealing pearl, or you'll die a horrible death. Really? Longao was afraid of the God-sealing pearl before, but now? Looking at the arrogant kid before them, their faces turned ugly. However, there was nothing they could do. Who asked them to be souls? Encountering a monster that could release the power of lightning tribulation? If it were anyone else, they would have killed him long ago. Why would they waste their breath on him? Looking at the God-sealing pearl in his hand, Longao did not know how to use it. Master, pour your soul power into the God-sealing pearl. I can help you increase the duration and power of the God-sealing pearl. Hearing Long Fu's words, Longao was overjoyed. Without hesitation, he poured his soul power into the God-sealing pearl. At that moment, Longao felt a very strange power coming from the God-locking orb. Soon after, the orb emitted a black light. However, the Scarlet Sky Third Forefather did not panic at all. He stood quietly where he was. The three of them were very confident. After all, the difference in strength was too great. In the eyes of a Tao ancestor, a lightning tribulation realm cultivator was like an ant that could be easily trampled to death. But in the next second, the three Scarlet Sky ancestors' expressions all changed as they looked at each other in horror. Until now, the three of them still could not figure out how the other party could release such a powerful God-sealing pearl. According to their strength, the other party did not even have the chance to lock onto them. But now, after successfully locking onto the three of them, Longao was overjoyed. At the same time, he rushed out and slashed down with the blood-sucking blade in his hand. In front of Qi Jun and Qi Feng's horrified eyes, the saber light that contained the power of tribulation lightning viciously slammed into Qi Lin's body. Without a doubt, Qi Lin's soul instantly vanished. Longao didn't want to subdue Qi Lin's soul because he knew that there were two reasons why he could kill Qi Lin. First, he had the power of the Thunder Calamity. Second, he had the God-sealing pearl that he had just obtained. Both were indispensable. Peng. Qi Jun and Qi Feng were worthy of being Tao ancestors. In just 3 seconds they broke free from the God-sealing pearl's lock. At this moment, the two of them were completely enraged. They roared and charged at Longao. They did not care if the other party had the power of lightning tribulation. There was only one thought in their minds: to kill the other party and avenge their third brother. Longao did not meet the two of them head-on. He knew that the two of them were at the peak of their anger. However, Longao did not sit still and wait for death. He immediately used the God-sealing pearl and released the God-sealing pearl's locking ability again. Being locked again, Longao was overjoyed. He continued to slash down with the blood-sucking blade in his hand. Whether it was the martial artist or the soul, the state of mind was the most important. Because of the loss of the God-sealing pearl and Qi Lin's tragic death, the two of them had changed their state of mind. Therefore, Qi Feng could not resist and was swallowed by the shocking blade light and the power of lightning tribulation. He disappeared without a trace. I'll tear you apart alive! Long Chang roared furiously. At this time, Longao and Longao had fused into one. When he was about to use the God-sealing pearl for the third time, he realized that his soul was not enough. Although the God-sealing pearl was incomparably powerful, it also consumed a terrifying amount of soul power. This was with Long Fu's help. Otherwise, Longao could barely use it once, and its power would be far from reaching this level. It was because of this that Longao had no choice but to use the divine dragon arm. Longao gathered all the power of the thunder tribulation on his right arm. He didn't continue to roam around. Instead, he stared intently at Qi Jun, who was approaching him. The Scarlet Sky three ancestors had already lost 2 people in just a few seconds. Qi Jun had never expected this. It was no wonder that he was so furious. If the 3 of them had all died at the hands of the 9 Nether Underground Spider, perhaps there would be some balance. They could not blame others for being inferior. But now, they had lost to a brat in the lightning tribulation realm. How could Qi Jun accept this? I'll kill you! Humph! Qi Jun shook his head. When Qi Jun was less than 3 meters away from Longao, Longao also moved. Chapter 163. Divine Dragon Arm. Qi Jun obviously wanted to meet force with force. Longao couldn't wait to meet force with force. In an instant, the two collided fiercely. Crack. Qi-jun was sent flying and made the closest contact with the ground. He struggled to get up with a look of disbelief. Suddenly, Qi-jun smiled bitterly and said, I, third forefather Scarlet Sky, have been roaming the world for so many years and killed countless enemies. Who would have thought that I would be defeated by a lightning tribulation brat today? Ridiculous, ridiculous. Qi-jun's face was sorrowful because he never thought that 3 Dao ancestors would be defeated by a lightning tribulation cultivator. If he hadn't experienced it himself, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Qi-jun, let me give you a word of advice. Never underestimate your opponent. Longao wasn't a fool. He knew very well that if third forefather Scarlet Sky had used the God-sealing pearl at the beginning, he would have died even if he had the power of lightning tribulation. But people were like that. They wouldn't give you a second chance. Nodding, Qi-jun suddenly said, Brat, don't think that you can leave after killing us. Even if I were you, I wouldn't help you. With that, an unparalleled power suddenly erupted from Qi-jun's body. With a bang, Qi-jun's soul exploded. Seeing Qi-jun's soul explode, Longao finally couldn't hold on and fell down. Perhaps it was because this was the first time Longao had used the God-sealing pearl, and he had used up too much of his spiritual strength. That was why his physical strength was so weak. At this moment, Longao only had 1/10 of his spiritual strength left. Inside the cave, Longao's body was lying quietly on the ground. There was no one around and it was very secluded. After an unknown period of time, wisps of air appeared around Longao's body. Then, the soul power that had just been destroyed rushed toward Longao and entered his body. An illusory figure floated out. Looking at the youth in front of him, Long Fu's face was indifferent as he said to himself, Master, let me help you transform. Wisps of soul entered his body and merged with his bloodline, driving the power of lightning tribulation. If a lightning calamity martial artist wanted to break through and become a metamorphosis martial artist, the first thing they had to do was to use the power of the lightning calamity to cleanse their entire body. Longao had swallowed the lightning tribulation, so his transformation was easier than that of ordinary lightning tribulation realm warriors. At the very least, there was no danger. Not to mention, with the help of Long Fu, it was like adding wings to a tiger. About 10 days. Longao finally woke up. He endured the pain in his head and sat up with difficulty. As if he had discovered something, Longao's face revealed a look of pleasant surprise. He had never thought that after sleeping for a while, he would wake up to find that his cultivation had actually broken through, directly breaking through from the lightning tribulation realm to a transformation. What exactly happened? Longao was completely confused because from the beginning to the end, he didn't know what had happened. Why would his cultivation suddenly break through when everything was fine? Longao knew very well that although there was only a difference of 1 realm between the lightning tribulation realm and the metamorphosis realm, the difference in strength between the two was like heaven and earth. Taking out the God-sealing pearl, Longao even forgot to be surprised that his cultivation had increased. In his opinion, with this God-sealing pearl, even if he encountered a second metamorphosis or third metamorphosis, he could even fight against the human king. This was the terror of the God-sealing pearl. Longao finally knew the power of the God-sealing pearl. It relied on some strange power to lock the surrounding space. In other words, the God-sealing pearl didn't lock onto a person, but the surrounding space. But even so, once one was locked onto by the God-sealing pearl, the consequences could be imagined. Inside the dragon seal space. Master, the God-sealing pearl you just obtained is considered a semi-defective product. A semi-defective product? What did that mean? Hearing this, Longao was shocked. He had never imagined that the God-sealing pearl he had risked his life to obtain was actually a semi-defective product. Long Fu, speak clearly. What's going on? Master, the God-sealing pearl you obtained is a super-divine tool. If it was at its peak, it could completely dominate the world and even lock onto the space of the entire continent. But now, the God-sealing pearl has clearly been damaged. Its power is less than 1%. Hearing these words, Longao could be considered to be completely stunned. Locking onto the entire continent was a terrifying power. It was hard to imagine. If the God-sealing pearl in his hand hadn't been damaged, wouldn't he be able to use it to lock onto anyone? It could even lock onto a continent, let alone a single person. Long Fu, can the God-sealing pearl be restored? Longao only cared about one thing, and that was whether or not the God-sealing pearl could be restored. However, Longao was also mentally prepared. Even if the God-sealing pearl could not be restored, with the current power of the God-sealing pearl, it was enough to deal with the enemy. Master, of course the God-sealing pearl can be restored, but it's very difficult. No matter what, as long as the God-sealing pearl could be restored, everything was good. As the saying went, if one day wasn't enough, 2 days would be enough. If 2 days weren't enough, 3 days would be enough. Longao didn't believe that he couldn't restore the God-sealing pearl. Long Fu, when I was unconscious, was it you who helped me break through to the lightning tribulation realm? Longao was 100% sure that other than Long Fu, no one else had helped him. Seeing Long Fu nod, Longao smiled. Master, I have to admit that your strength has risen very quickly. But there's a drawback. If you can solve this drawback, even if you encounter an enemy stronger than you, I believe you can win by surprise. What drawback? Longao was curious. He didn't know what Long Fu was talking about. Master, as your strength rapidly rises, your spiritual strength is far from being able to keep up. Although the soul-subduing seal and underworld burning seal are martial skills that attack the soul, it's still far from enough. Longao seemed to have guessed what Long Fu wanted to say. He nodded and didn't say anything. He just listened quietly. So, Master, I'm prepared to help you raise your spiritual strength and teach you a spiritual attack. Once you succeed in cultivating it, you can use it with the destruction seal. Long Fu didn't continue, but his meaning was clear. A spiritual attack? It would be a lie to say that he wasn't tempted. Longao naturally wouldn't refuse. He asked, Long Fu, what should I do? Master, within the 9 psycho-reincarnation technique, there is a martial skill that cultivates the soul. I'll teach it to you now. As long as you persevere, when your soul reaches a certain level, I'll formally teach you a spiritual attack. At that time, with Master's various abilities and the God-sealing pearl, I can say that even if you meet a sovereign expert, Master will be able to kill them. Chapter 164. Soul Attack. Longao was looking forward to it. Not continuing the conversation with Long Fu, Longao immediately left the dragon seal space. Calculating the time, about 40 days had passed. Not to mention the promised battle with Ouyang Zhong, there was only a little more than a month left before the 3 months were up. Because of this, Longao began to search for the exit, hoping to leave as soon as possible. As for the entrance to the Qi cover, Longao found that for some reason, the entrance was sealed by a force, making it impossible to leave. Without even thinking, Longao already knew that it was the Red Army's doing. This time, he had borrowed the power of the lightning tribulation and the God-sealing pearl to successfully kill the Scarlet Sky Third Ancestor. He believed that even if he died, the Scarlet Sky Third Ancestor would not die in peace. Just like this, Longao continued to search for the exit. Unknowingly, 20 days passed in the blink of an eye. In addition to the time previously delayed, 2 months had passed. In other words, there was only a month left before the wedding of Aoshue and Zhang Zhiheng. Longao was very anxious, but he was powerless. After 20 days of searching, there was still no result. The entire cave was sealed. Even Long Fu could not find the exit. Could it be that he had to stay here for the rest of his life? Longao was very unwilling. He fiercely punched the ground. Perhaps because he used too much strength, the entire cave seemed to tremble. But at this moment, Longao was surprised, as if he had discovered something. Overjoyed, Longao immediately took out his bloodthirsty blade and began to madly hack at the ground. Not long after, an invisible chi cover appeared on the ground. There was no need to guess. Longao already knew that the chi cover that appeared on the ground was the so-called entrance. Not wanting to stay any longer, Longao directly jumped into the invisible chi cover. The chi cover flashed, and in the next second, Longao appeared in the flame forest. "Brother Long, why are you here?" Ice Spirit was shocked to see Longao suddenly appear in front of her. She didn't know why Longao had suddenly appeared. Even Longao was surprised. Looking at the dozens of people in front of him, he asked curiously, "Ice Spirit, why are you here?" "I was just attacked by a spirit beast, so I came here." Seeing that Longao didn't want to talk about it, Ice Spirit didn't continue asking. "Brother Linghu and I came to the fire forest mainly to kill a dragon lion." "Longsure?" Hearing Longshure's name, Longao was very surprised. Longao wasn't unfamiliar with the Dracolic Ice Souls spoke of. The Martial Heaven continent had many branches of the dragon race, and the Dracolic race was one of them. As everyone knew, the giant dragon clan was naturally promiscuous, especially when it came to finding other clans. Therefore, the dragon lion was the descendant of the giant dragon and the berserk lion. However, in the eyes of the giant dragon clan, these so-called branches were simply a disgrace. If it weren't for the fact that there were too many branches, the giant dragon clan would have eliminated them long ago. "Are you Longao? Who are you?" Longao immediately became vigilant, because he could clearly sense the aura of the young man in front of him. Obviously, he was a Lightning Retribution Realm warrior. "Brother Long, this is Brother Linghu Ning, ranked 6th on the 100 battle ranking." "6th on the 100 battle ranking?" Linghu Ning. Longao flipped through the memories in his mind and finally remembered the top 10 figures of the 100 battle ranking. The 6th was indeed Linghu Ning. "Longao, you're really good to be able to kill Yi Dao. You're quite capable." In the eyes of Linghu Ning and Ice Spirit, Longao was still a Unification Realm warrior. They didn't expect that in just a few months, Longao had become a Lightning Retribution Realm warrior. Speaking of this, Linghu Ning's face instantly turned cold. He said, "Longao, do you know that Yi Dao is my best friend?" Trouble was coming. Longao was not a fool. Of course, he knew what Linghu Ning meant. Ice Spirit saw that the two sides were like fire and water. She was shocked because she had forgotten the relationship between Yi Dao and Linghu Ning. In the end, Ice Spirit didn't expect Longao to suddenly appear in the fire forest. In any case, the Fire Empire and the Thunder Empire were so far away. Moreover, it was such a coincidence to meet here. "Brother Linghu." Waving his hand, Linghu Ning spoke before Ice Spirit could say anything. "Sister Ice, even if I want to find trouble, it won't be now. Longsure is the most important. Longao, why don't you come with us?" Among the 10, Linghu Ning was the strongest. As for the remaining 8, the strongest was only in the Amalgamation Realm. However, the 8 of them were obviously Linghu Ning's men. They all looked at him coldly. "If that's the case, then I'll accept your invitation." "Please! Please!" Linghu Ning laughed and walked out first. The 8 people followed behind. As for Longao and Ice Spirit, they followed behind, as if deliberately distancing themselves from the 9 people. "Brother Long, you know that Linghu Ning invited you to deal with Longsure with ulterior motives. Why do you still want to join?" Ice Spirit's face was full of worry. Regarding Linghu Ning's strength, she was very clear. Although she admitted that Longao's strength was very strong, a Unification warrior was still in the innate realm. It was impossible for him to be a match for a Lightning Calamity warrior. Smiling, Longao said, "I also want to see the legendary Longsure." "Oh right, Ice Spirit, what's the strength of this Longsure that you're chasing?" Seeing that Longao did not say much about this matter, Ice Soul sighed deeply in her heart and said helplessly, "Not long ago, I accidentally met a dragon lion that was undergoing a lightning tribulation in the flame forest. Maybe it was my good luck. Although this dragon lion successfully passed the lightning tribulation, it was injured by the lightning tribulation. However, with my strength, I am far from being a match for this dragon lion. So you found Ling Huning? Seeing Ice Spirit nod, Longao felt a little helpless. Although this injured Longsure was found by Ice Spirit, once captured or killed, Longsure would undoubtedly belong to Ling Huning. Longao, I know what you're thinking. This time, I didn't come for Ling Huning. I met him by accident, so I asked him for help. He also promised that once the Longsure is killed, he'll split it equally. Was Ling Huning really willing to split the Longsure equally? Longao didn't dare to guarantee, but he knew one thing. No matter where he went, no matter when, Ice Spirit was his friend. If his friend was in trouble, he would help without hesitation, no matter how strong the other party was. Just like that, the group of 11 people carefully chased after Longsure. Following his scent, they headed east. After an unknown amount of time, Ling Huning suddenly said in surprise, "We've found Longsure." Everyone stop. Remember, without my orders, no one is allowed to move. Otherwise, kill without mercy. Chapter 165. Kill without mercy? Among them, Ling Huning was the most powerful, so he was qualified to say such a thing. Longao knew very well that Ling Huning's words were meant for him. After all, he was the only outsider among the 11. Not taking Ling Huning's words to heart, Longao looked over. Sure enough, not far away, a spirit beast with a body like a lion and a head like a dragon was wailing in pain. Longao knew that although this dragon lion had successfully passed the Thunder Retribution, it was injured by the power of the Thunder Retribution. Once given enough time to recover, it could become a genuine Thunder Retribution spirit beast. In other words, now was the best time to kill Dragon Lion. Among the 11 people, only 2 had the strength to kill Dragon Lion. One was Ling Huning, and the other was Longao. But in the eyes of the others, Longao was only a Unification Realm warrior. Even if he could kill Yi Dao and was ranked 11th on the 100 battle ranking, compared to a real Thunder Retribution spirit beast, he was still a little weak. Because of this, Ling Huning was so arrogant. "Brother Linghu, what should we do now? All of you spread out and guard all directions. Once I severely injure Dragon Lion, no matter what happens, you must keep him here." Everyone nodded. Of course, no one objected. Just like this, the 10 people began to spread out, guarding the east, south, west, southeast, northwest, northeast, and southwest respectively. Ling Huning had a strong heart. He took a deep breath and shot out like an arrow. "Ice Spirit, your brother Linghu is in trouble." "Humph, Brother Long, don't talk nonsense." "What do you mean, my brother Linghu?" Sensing something was wrong, Ice Spirit asked in surprise. "What trouble will Ling Huning be in?" "This dragon lion is not simple." While the two were talking, Ling Huning, who was not far away, had already rushed out. When he was about a meter away from Dragon Lion, the wailing Dragon Lion suddenly became energetic. Ling Huning, who was full of confidence, seemed to have never expected Dragon Lion to show weakness. In shock, before he could retreat, Dragon Lion had already attacked fiercely. Seeing this situation, everyone was shocked, but no one dared to go up and help. Dragon Lion, a Thunder Calamity spirit beast. No one was a fool. Of course, they knew that if they went up at this time, no matter who it was, there would only be one outcome: death. No one was willing to die. Ice Spirit was about to attack, but Longao stopped her and asked seriously, "Ice Spirit, what are you doing?" "Brother Long, I know what you want to say. However, I can only tell you this. When my friend is in trouble, I cannot sit by and do nothing. It is not only you, Linghu. Even if it's you, I will do the same. Thus, you don't have to stop me. But your strength, even if I die, I'm not afraid." Longao looked deeply at I's soul in front of him. He knew very well that I's soul didn't like Linghu. She was just a friend. Even if he didn't want to help, he couldn't just watch I's soul die in vain. I's spirit was only a unification warrior. Not to mention the lightning tribulation realm, she was still far from the peak of the unification realm. Longao could completely predict that once I's spirit attacked, she would be killed by Longshur. Helplessly, he said, "I'll go with you." "No, Brother Long, Ling Huning is my friend. It's reasonable for me to help. However, you have no obligation to do so. If I implicate you because of this, I will blame myself." Longao smiled and said, "Although Ling Huning is not my friend, you, I's spirit, are my friend. You can take risks for your friends, and I can also die for my friends." Looking at Longao's smiling face, I's soul didn't know why, but her heart fiercely moved. She was startled and immediately suppressed her state of mind and said, "Thank you." Not far away, Longshur and Ling Huning had already started fighting. Although they were both in the lightning tribulation realm, Longshur obviously had the upper hand. The reason was simple. Longshur had the blood of the dragon clan in his body. It could be said that he had 1% of the dragon's power. Step by step. As the battle continued to escalate, Longshur could be said to be braver and braver. On the other hand, Ling Huning was losing confidence. However, the battle had already reached this point. Even if he wanted to leave, there was nothing he could do. At this moment, Longao and I's spirit attacked again. Looking at the two who joined the battle, Ling Huning was touched. Because among the crowd, only the two of them were willing to help him. "Longao, you're my friend for sure." Whether Ling Huning was sincere or not, Longao would give face to I's spirit. Unless it was a last resort, he would definitely not fall out with Ling Huning. The three of them joined forces to fight Longshur, but they still could not gain the upper hand. In fact, with Longao's current strength, it would be easy for him to kill Longshur. One was in the lightning tribulation realm while the other was in the first metamorphosis realm. The two were not on the same level at all. However, Longao did not use his metamorphosis power. At this moment, a powerful aura suddenly erupted from Longao's body. Under the joint forces of Ling Huning, they firmly suppressed Longshur. "Brother Long, you've already reached the metamorphosis realm?" Feeling the powerful aura from Longao, I's spirit's face was filled with surprise. As for Ling Huning, he was also shocked, but there was no envy, jealousy, or hatred. It had to be said that Ling Huning was a qualified martial artist. At the very least, he was not like other martial artists who would be envious, jealous, or hateful when they saw someone stronger than them. The two Lightning Tribulation Realm martial artists joined forces to suppress Longshur. At this time, in order to end the battle quickly, Longao finally used his Wild Blood Saber. He did not use the 4 moves, but only the 4th move, World Extinguishing Saber Light. The apocalyptic saber light cleaved down. Ling Huning also seized the rare opportunity to entangle Longshur, not giving him any chance to react. The two cooperated very closely. Kacha Longao's saber strike did not directly kill Longshur. It only seriously injured him. Longshur was already seriously injured by the lightning tribulation power. At this moment, it could be said that Longshur was injured on top of his injuries. He directly fell to the ground. Although overjoyed, Ling Huning and I's spirit did not make a move. The two of them looked at Longao in front of them. Ling Huning said, "Brother Long, Longshur was subdued by you. He will be dealt with by you. However, I want to say that Longshur has already broken through the lightning tribulation realm. It will be very difficult to subdue him." Longao nodded. How could he not know about that? However, he said, "Brother Linghu, I's soul, I'll still give this dragon lion to you. I only have a small request. I hope you can agree to it." Chapter 166. Brother Long, you don't want the dragon lion? Both I's soul and Ling Huning were surprised to hear that Longao was giving the dragon lion to them. The dragon lion was not only a branch of the dragon clan, but also a lightning tribulation realm cultivator. It could be said that the dragon lion was a treasure from head to toe. Before the two could speak, Longao waved his hand. If you treat me as a friend, then don't refuse. Since the conversation had already reached this point, the two of them were very clear in their hearts that if they continued to decline, they would indeed be regarded as outsiders. Brother Long, I can't thank you enough. If there's anything you want, just say it. As long as it's something I can do, I won't refuse. However, I can't help you destroy the Thunder Empire, but destroying Star Cloud Kingdom is more than enough. Hearing this, Longao smiled. I-Soul smiled. Even Ling Huning smiled. I-Soul didn't say anything. The people around them were also sent away by Ling Huning. If they didn't help when they were in danger, then such a companion was dispensable. Brother Linghu, I-Soul, I won't hide it from you. I want you to help me find about 25 herbs. As he spoke, Longao took out a small piece of paper from his bosom. The paper was filled with densely packed small words. There were about 25 types of words. Longao had prepared these herbs for the Fire Qilin. The Fire Qilin was heavily injured and needed these herbs to recover. The stronger the Fire Qilin was, the better it was for the clan. Longao was even more clear in his heart that it was almost a very difficult thing to collect all the medicinal herbs by relying on his own strength alone. However, Ling Huning and I-Soul were different. With their status in the Flame Empire, it would be much easier for them to gather all the herbs. Glancing at the names on the paper, I-Soul and Ling Huning's expressions turned serious. However, Ling Huning didn't even think about it and agreed. Brother Long, don't worry. Leave this to us. Compared to the spiritual grass on the paper, the dragon lion was almost nothing. Thank you. Brother Long, these herbs are difficult to gather. Why don't you stay in Flame City for a few more days? Nodding, Longao did not refuse. Calculating the time, there was still a month before Aoshua and Zhang Zhihong's wedding. As for the promised battle between him and Ouyang Zhong, it had already passed the appointed date. Therefore, there was no point in going back on his word in Thunder City. Longao was eager to get the herbs on the paper. After all, the Fire Qilin needed these herbs. Brother Linghu, forgive me for asking, but how do you plan to deal with this dragon lion? Longsure was in the lightning tribulation realm. Brother Long, I won't hide it from you. I'm going to use this draconic lion to exchange for some high-grade pills to transform myself. Lin Fan nodded. One must know that Ling Huning had already reached the lightning tribulation realm. As long as he borrowed the power of the lightning tribulation within his body to cleanse his entire body, he would be able to break through to the next realm. Brother Linghu, if you choose to believe in me, I can make full use of Longsure. What do you think? Ling Huning and I-Soul did not even think about it, and directly agreed. The three of them rested for a while. Longao's soul entered the dragon seal space, and he went straight to the point. Long Fu, I want to help these two people. Can you refine Longshure's soul in the shortest time possible and transfer its power to them? Long Fu thought for a moment and said, Master, Longshure is at the lightning tribulation realm. If you want to refine it, it will take at least 5 days. Furthermore, if you want to store Longshure's soul energy, you can only store it in a spirit ball. Spirit ball? Longao did not know what the spirit ball was. Therefore, he asked, Long Fu, what is a spirit ball? Master, the spirit ball is my invention. It is unique and specialized in storing energy. Looking at the small black balls that appeared in Long Fu's hand, each one about the size of an eye, Longao was very curious. However, since things had come to this point, he had nothing to say. Leaving the dragon seal space, Longao looked at Longshure and said, I want to kill Longshure and take his soul. As for his beast core and corpse, you guys can handle it. Since they had already agreed, Ling Huning and I-Soul did not have any objections. They nodded at the same time. I-Soul said, Brother Long, do as you see fit. Nodding, Longao came before Longshure. Without any pity, he ruthlessly slammed his palm on Longshure's head, killing him and sending his soul into the dragon seal space. As a lightning tribulation spiritual beast, Longshi's body and beast core were both treasures among treasures. Ling Huning and I Soul did not hold back. One took the corpse and the other took the beast core. After successfully killing Longshi, the three of them did not continue to stay in the Fire Forest. Instead, they left for Fire City. Fire City, the imperial capital of the Fire Empire. In the Tianzhou, there were two great empires in the secular world. They were the Fire Empire and the Thunder Empire. For so many years, the Thunder Empire and the Fire Empire had been fighting openly and secretly. However, neither of them could do anything to the other. In fact, both empires were very clear that if the Fire Empire and the Thunder Empire wanted to determine a victor, it would have to be the Fire Sect and the Thunder Sect. It was easier said than done for the Fire Sect and the Thunder Sect to determine a victor. Even so, the Fire Empire and the Thunder Empire were like fire and water. I Soul was a member of the Fire Empire's National Guardian Hall. However, Ling Huning was not. He was the number 1 super genius of the Linghu family, and was known as the number 2 figure in Fire City. Strictly speaking, among the young martial artists, the Fire Empire was indeed superior to the Thunder Empire. In Fire City, other than the Imperial family, there were 3 other great families. They were the Wei family, the Yi family, and the Linghu family. Yi Dao, who Longao had killed, was a genius of the Yi family. It was because of this that the Yi family hated Longao to the core. However, due to the distance between the Thunder Empire and the Fire Empire, the Yi family tolerated it. When Longao had just entered Fire City, the Fire Empire and the 3 great families already knew. After all, the current Longao was no longer the same as before. He could be considered a top figure. Just by killing Yi Dao and being ranked 11th on the 100 battle ranking, his name was enough to shake the secular world of the Tianzhou. However, after knowing that Longao and Ling Huning were together, the Yi family did not immediately make a move. After all, Ling Huning's strength was there for all to see. Right now, no one knew what the relationship between Longao, Ling Huning, and the Linghu family was. "Brother Long, why don't you come to my Linghu family as a guest? Let me do my best as a host." Waving his hand, Longao smiled and said, "There's no need. Brother Linghu, I Soul, come find me in 5 days. I want to walk around Fire City alone." Longao had full confidence. According to the identity of I's spirit and Ling Huning, he believed that it would be a piece of cake for them to know his whereabouts. Chapter 167. Flame City. As the imperial capital of the Flame Empire, Flame City was extremely prosperous. Here, one could casually encounter powerful cultivators. If one wasn't careful, one could even mysteriously die. After stepping into Flame City, Longao did not relax in the slightest. This was because he clearly knew that there was a powerful enemy in Flame City, the so-called Yi family. "Brother Long, long time no see. How have you been?" After sending off Ling Huning and I Soul, a young man wearing a yellow robe walked over. He looked confident and at ease. "So it's Crown Prince Dongfang. Dongfang Suo, the Crown Prince of the Flame Empire." Back then, he was the leader of the Flame Empire and participated in the war between the two countries. However, due to the sudden appearance of the Dark Horse Longao, the Flame Empire was defeated. Under normal circumstances, Dongfang Suo should be incomparably furious upon seeing Longao, but now, Dongfang Suo was clearly seeing an old friend. Because of this, Longao became even more vigilant. He knew that people like Dongfang Suo who hid a knife behind a smile were even more terrifying. "Brother Long, may I know why you've come to Flame City this time?" "To search for spiritual herbs." Longao didn't hide this matter at all. He smiled and asked in return, "Can Crown Prince Dongfang help me find them? I'll have to take a look first." Longao didn't hold back in the slightest and took out a piece of paper from his bosom. Looking at the densely packed names of spirit herbs, Dongfang Suo said with great confidence, I can get all of them for you in 6 hours. How many portions do you need? Longao wasn't surprised at all. No matter what, Dongfang saw was the crown prince of the Flame Empire. Just his identity alone wasn't something the two of them could compare to. Crown Prince Dongfang, I'm only joking. Dongfang So waved his hand and said, I don't like to joke. Brother Long, I really want to be friends with you. I'll send someone to deliver them to you later. Without giving Longao a chance to continue speaking, Dongfang So turned around and quickly left. Longao's expression was slightly unsightly. As the saying goes, one's mouth is short after receiving a gift. He never thought that Dongfang So would agree so straightforwardly. Dongfang So was an extremely sinister person. In the distance, Your Highness, is there a need for us to rope an Emir Longao? Humph, humph! Longao has grown to such a level in just a few short months. He is truly terrifying. The Thunder Empire and Star Cloud Kingdom may be foolish, but my Flame Empire is not. If we can recruit this person, I believe he will definitely become a great pillar of support for my Flame Empire in the future. Staring unwaveringly at the black-clothed, white-haired youth in the distance, Dongfang So suddenly sneered. They found an inn and settled down temporarily. Longao immediately entered a state of cultivation. This time, with the help of Long Fu, his cultivation had successfully broken through to the transformation realm. However, the transformation realm was also divided into 3 stages. First metamorphosis, second metamorphosis, third metamorphosis. Only after 3 metamorphoses would one be qualified to become a human king. Advancing from the metamorphosis realm to the sovereign personage realm seemed simple. However, it was actually fraught with difficulties. Longao's current cultivation had officially reached the first metamorphosis realm. There was only one thing left for him to do, and that was to borrow the strength of his body to cleanse his entire body. This was 10 times more difficult than the first metamorphosis realm. The difference between the first metamorphosis realm and the second metamorphosis realm was huge. The Yi family was one of the 3 major families in Flame City. Yi Dao was a super genius of the Yi family, but he was killed by Longao. The Yi family had always been brooding over this matter. If Longao was far away in Thunder City, the Yi family would not have made a move. However, now that Longao had entered Flame City, it gave the Yi family a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The Yi family did not have any Metamorphosis Realm warriors, but they had a few Unification Realm warriors. The Yi family had received news that Longao was only a Unification Realm warrior. Therefore, if it was 2 against 1, or 3 against 1, they believed that they could definitely kill Longao. It was precisely because of this that the Yi family sent out 3 Unification Realm warriors to kill Longao. Inside the inn, Longao was sitting on the bed quietly cultivating. However, at this moment, 3 figures suddenly appeared one after another. The 3 men in black were covered from head to toe, even their noses were covered. It seemed like the Yi family was very afraid of Longao. Otherwise, the 3 of them would not have needed to cover up and would have made a move openly. Looking at the 3 men in black in front of him, the 3 Unification Realm warriors, Longao did not even need to think to guess their identities. He coldly said, Yi family? Ha ha ha, Longao, today is the day you die. With just the 3 of you? Ha! Hearing Longao's words was like hearing the funniest joke in the world. Although he could not see their faces, Longao clearly knew that the 3 men in black had looks of disdain and contempt written all over their faces. Longao, I have to admit that you are very arrogant. However, even if you are arrogant, you must have the qualifications to be arrogant. Even if you can kill Yi Dao in the hands of the 3 of us, you will definitely die today. As they spoke, the 3 of them directly shot out. However, they left quickly and returned even faster. With Longao's current strength, 3 small Unification Realm warriors could be easily pinched to death with just a finger. There was no need to ask. Since Longao had already guessed their identities, he naturally would not continue to be long-winded. With a palm strike, he killed the three of them and sent their souls into the dragon seal space. Ye family. The corner of his mouth curled up into a cold smile. Longao would not be a fool. As the saying goes, if you respect me, I will respect you tenfold. Longao did not continue to cultivate. He stood up and left the inn, heading towards the Yi family. With Longao's current strength, as long as he was willing, it would be difficult for anyone to follow him or be discovered by others. As one of the three great families of Flame City, the Yi family's strength and foundation were very strong. As a transformation realm warrior, Longao quietly entered the Yi family and killed all the remaining unification realm warriors. Then, he quickly left. Longao could be said to come and go without a trace. It was not until the next morning that the Yi family was completely in chaos. This was because a total of 5 unification realm warriors of the Yi family were all killed, including the 3 who went out. In fact, the Yi family had already guessed who it was, but they did not have any real evidence. Moreover, since Longao was able to kill 6 unification realm warriors without anyone knowing, it was already clear of Longao's strength. The Yi family were not fools. Of course, they knew that with the Yi family's strength, it was impossible for them to be a match for Longao. Moreover, the Yi family's only 6 unification realm warriors were all killed. They believed that the other families would definitely not let go of such a rare opportunity. Not to mention dealing with Longao, even dealing with the other families would be a headache. Chapter 168. 6 unification realm warriors of the Yi family were slaughtered in a single night? The next day, all the major powers that received the news were guessing who was behind this. After much thought, everyone's suspicions were all pointed at Longao. The reason was very simple. Before Longao had entered Flame City, everything had been peaceful. However, when Longao had just stepped into Flame City, before even a night had passed, something like this had happened. The experts of the Yi family were all slaughtered. The other 2 families, the Wei family and the Linghu family, were extremely excited. However, due to the current situation, they couldn't suppress the Yi family. Longao's sudden entry into Flame City could be said to have caused a storm in Flame City. A person who was able to kill 6 consolidation realm martial artists without anyone noticing, it was easy to guess what kind of person the other party was. Everyone knew even more clearly in their hearts that the person who killed Yi Dao most likely had improved his strength again. The Flame Imperial family didn't make a sound. The Wei family and the Linghu family naturally didn't make a sound either. As for the Yi family, they could only suffer in silence. It was precisely because of this that the matter of the Yi family's 6 consolidation realm warriors being killed was like a stone sinking into the sea, disappearing without a trace. The next day, Dongfang So personally visited. Prince Dongfang, are you looking for me? In such a large restaurant, there were only Longao and Dongfang So. After all, Dongfang So's position in Flame City wasn't something an ordinary person could match. If there were no accidents, Dongfang So would definitely be the next emperor of the Flame Empire. Brother Long, these should be the herbs you wanted. There are a total of 25 types. See if you're missing anything. Looking at the densely packed herbs on the ground, how could Longao, as an alchemist, not recognize them? Prince Dongfang, I already said that I was only joking yesterday. Smiling, Dongfang So said. Brother Long, I wasn't joking. Take these herbs as a gift from me. Don't worry, I won't ask you to return this favor. Dongfang So's words seemed to be joking, but there was a hidden meaning in them. Longao wasn't a fool. Of course, he could understand the meaning in his words. However, since things had already reached this stage, he couldn't push it away. Nodding his head, he sent all the herbs on the ground into the dragon seal space and said, Many thanks. Brother Long, since you consider me as a friend, there's something I want to ask. Were the 6 people from the Yi clan killed by you? Taking a deep look at Dongfang So, Longao pondered for a bit before nodding his head in agreement. I'm only giving you a taste of your own medicine. You can't blame me for this. Brother Long, this isn't your fault. The Yi clan only has themselves to blame. Hearing Dongfang So's words, Longao was even more puzzled. He didn't know what Dongfang So meant. Could it be that there was a grudge between the blazing imperial family and the Yi clan? Although he had never stepped into Flame City, Longao still had some understanding of the Flame Empire. In Flame City, the Flame Imperial family was fully deserving of their title as the Overlord. They could not wait for the three great families to restrain each other. As if he could read Longao's mind, Dongfang So smiled and said, Brother Long, in Flame City, the three great families restrict each other. However, to tell you the truth, the rapid development of the three great families has already seriously affected the royal family. Longao didn't say anything and only listened quietly. The Yi clan, Wei clan, and Linghu clan. Especially in recent years, the three great families have been recruiting troops. If it weren't for the sound of thunder sects supporting them from behind, I believe the three great families would have already rebelled. There's no need to wait until now. So what? Brother Long, I consider you a true friend, so I'll get straight to the point. I want to become the Emperor of the Flame Empire. So what? Longao became even more curious. Whether the other party wanted to become the Emperor or not, what did it have to do with him? Could it be that just because he gave him some medicinal herbs, he wanted him to interfere with the matters of the Flame Empire? Although Longao was confident in himself, the Flame Empire was like a colossus. With his current strength, it was impossible for him to shake the Flame Empire, let alone influence the direction of an emperor. Brother Long, I hope to have your help. Prince Dongfang, you think too highly of me. I'm only a small martial artist. If you want me to fight with other martial artists, I might be able to. But to help you fight for the throne, I'm afraid I can't do it. Brother Long, you can definitely do it. I believe you have the strength. Later, I'll arrange for you to enter the Flame Empire Guardian Hall and help you become its hall master. As long as you can sit on this seat, I'll have the opportunity to become the emperor in advance. Longao thought for a moment and instantly understood Dongfang So's intention. In the Flame Empire, other than the emperor, the Flame Empire Guardian Hall had the greatest authority. Sometimes, the Flame Empire Guardian Hall could even influence the direction of an emperor. Thinking about it made sense. No matter what, the Flame Empire Guardian Hall was the gathering camp of all the powerful martial artists in the Flame Empire. Obtaining the Guardian Hall was equivalent to obtaining martial power. Dongfang So had a good plan. Brother Dongfang, although I consider you a friend, I can't agree to join the Flame Empire Guardian Hall. I like to be free. Otherwise, I wouldn't have rejected the Thunder Guardian Hall. This was the truth. Back then, the Thunder Guardian Hall extended an olive branch to him, but it was directly rejected by Longao. Rejecting the Thunder Empire and agreeing to the Flame Empire? Dongfang So seemed to want to say something, but Longao was one step ahead and said, Prince Dongfang, joining the Flame Empire Guardian Hall is impossible. However, if you have any matters in the future, I can help you. How about it? Since things had already reached this point, Dongfang So naturally knew that the other party couldn't join the Flame Empire Guardian Hall. He smiled and said, Okay, Brother Long. Today, we won't leave until we're drunk. One had to admit that Dongfang So was indeed a character. In the following time, the two didn't talk about the throne. They drank and talked about everything under the sun. It could be said that they were quite happy. Longao could be considered to have gained some understanding of Dongfang So's character. He hid a dagger behind a smile, and he was still a man with a true temperament. Just like this, the two of them drank for an entire day and night, and they only stopped at dawn the next day. The news of Longao and Dongfang So drinking together had already spread throughout Flame City. At this time, even more people began to suspect Longao's identity. First, it was Ling Huning, then it was Dongfang So. Longao could be said to have become completely famous in Flame City. As soon as Dongfang So left, Ling Huning and I's soul came to find Longao. I's soul went straight to the point. Brother Long, these are all the medicinal ingredients you need. If you have nothing else to do, you should leave the Flame Empire as soon as possible. Remember, unless it is absolutely necessary, you shouldn't enter Flame City again. Seeing I's soul and Ling Huning speaking so seriously, Longao was very puzzled and asked, "What happened?" Chapter 169. Brother Long, Yi Dao's old flame has entered Flame City. Yi Dao's old flame? Hearing this, Longao was even more surprised. However, I's spirit and Ling Huning spoke in such a solemn manner. It was easy to guess the strength of Yi Dao's old flame. I's spirit, what is the background of Yi Dao's old flame? Longao didn't seem to be in a panic. He looked like he would deal with whatever came his way, which made I's spirit and Ling Huning feel helpless. After thinking for a while, I's spirit said, "Yi Dao's old flame is called Chaixing. He is a second transformation martial artist and ranked third on the 100 battle ranking. He doesn't belong to any sect. He relied on himself." Chaixing? Longao didn't bother about other things. Just this name alone didn't seem like a woman's name. As if she could see Longao's doubts, Ling Huning said hesitantly, "Brother Long, I forgot to tell you. Chaixing is a man and not a woman." Man? Longao was shocked beyond words. He never expected Yi Dao's old flame to be a man. Didn't that mean Yi Dao and Chaixing were having a homosexual relationship? Just thinking about it made him feel disgusted. After thinking about the so-called homosexual relationship for a while, Longao was a little surprised. Chaixing didn't belong to any sect. He relied on himself to reach the second transformation realm and was ranked third on the 100 battle ranking. Just these points alone were enough to show how talented Chaixing was. Longao also became serious. After all, a second transformation martial artist's strength was extraordinary and couldn't be underestimated. No matter where he went, no matter when, Longao never underestimated any opponent. Otherwise, he was destined to lose his life once he failed. There was no chance to save himself. I's spirit and Ling Huning seemed to be disgusted by the matter of Yi Dao and Chaixing and didn't want to talk about it. "Brother Long, Chaixing is powerful and hates evil. This time, he entered Flame City mainly to deal with you. Even if it's the Linghu family and the Flame Imperial family, I believe he won't put them in his eyes." Longao nodded. Of course, he knew what kind of person Chaixing was. Chaixing could rely on himself to achieve his current status. Could he retreat? Ever since Longao's debut, he had never backed down. Not in the past, not now, and definitely not in the future. Because of this, Longao said with a determined expression, "Since this matter will come back sooner or later, then I will wait for him here." To be honest, Longao also wanted to meet this Chaixing. However, his cultivation had already broken through to the next realm. Among martial artists of the same level, Longao had full confidence. But what if he met a martial artist who had undergone a second metamorphosis? Therefore, Longao wanted to see if he could defeat Chaixing, a martial artist at the second metamorphosis stage, with his current strength. Whether it was Ling Huning or I's spirit, when they heard that Longao had no intention of leaving Flame City, worry filled their faces. They knew very well that although Longao's cultivation base had reached the lightning tribulation realm, there was still a certain gap between him and the metamorphosis realm. Moreover, Chaixing was not in the first metamorphosis realm, but the second metamorphosis realm. There were 3 metamorphoses, and each realm was a qualitative change. "Brother Long, I know that you are proud and don't want to leave Flame City. However, as the saying goes, revenge is a dish best served cold. With Chaixing's strength, there is no need for us to fight him head-on. What do you say?" From beginning to end, Ling Huning and I's spirit did not mention anything about the Yi family. The two of them were very clear about the grudge between Longao and the Yi family. No matter what, since it had already happened, there was no point in talking about it. The two of them had already thought it through. If the Yi family were to seek revenge, no matter what happened, they would unconditionally stand by Longao's side. I spirit, Brother Linghu, I know you are worried about me. However, no matter what happens, I will not leave Flame City. Longao sighed deeply. Linghu Ning said, Brother Long, I cannot use the power of my family. However, I will stand by your side regardless of life or death. Me too. It would be a lie to say that he was not moved. With a friend like this, everything was worth it. Thank you. Longao did not say anything else as there was no need for words. Next, Linghu Ning and I's spirit began to explain to Longao about Yi Dao and Caixing, especially Caixing's strength and everything else. Somewhere in Flame City, a young man who looked like a woman was walking alone on the street. The people around him were making way for him. It was not because they were afraid of his identity, but because of the cold aura that the young man was emitting. It was too cold. The young man was none other than Caixing. Not only was he Yi Dao's old flame, but he was also ranked 3rd on the 100 battle ranking, a martial artist who had gone through 2 metamorphoses. Caixing's face was very gloomy because he had countless men. However, Yi Dao was the only one he liked the most. But what happened in the end? He was killed by a brat named Longao. It was because of this that Caixing happened to hear Longao entering Flame City when he was passing by. Caixing did not even think about it, and directly entered Flame City to seek revenge on this Longao. Caixing was very famous. This was not because of his strength, but because he was ranked 3rd on the 100 battle ranking. No matter what, the 100 battle ranking was very important in the secular world. The 100 battle ranking was also recognized as the most valuable ranking. Anyone who could enter the 100 battle ranking was a genius, not to mention a person who was ranked 3rd on the 100 battle ranking, a martial artist who had gone through 2 metamorphoses. Not to mention in the secular world, even if placed in the 6 major sects, he would be a genius. Caixing arrived at the Yi family. Through the Yi family's strength and background, he quickly found out Longao's whereabouts. In a luxurious restaurant. Due to the Yi family, there were only 3 people in the entire restaurant. It was very quiet. Longao and the other 2 were not fools. Of course, they knew that things had started to go wrong. I's spirit said in a dignified voice. If there is no accident, Caixing should be here. Ha ha ha, I's spirit, long time no see. You are still so valiant and heroic. Caixing walked in with a cold smile. When he saw Linghu Ning, he seemed a little surprised. Finally, he smiled and said, Brother Linghu, you are still so beautiful. Shut up. Without giving Caixing any chance to speak, Linghu Ning had goosebumps all over his body. He was so disgusted that he wanted to vomit. You are so disgusting. People like you should buy 2 pounds of tofu and slowly kill yourself at home. You are Longao? So what? Longao, not bad. Do you know who I am? Who you are has nothing to do with me. You better leave. Looking at someone like you, I don't even have the desire to eat. Chapter 170. As soon as Caixing stepped into the restaurant, Longao began to provoke him. Longao knew very well that even if he didn't provoke him, today's matter would be very difficult to deal with. Since that was the case, there was no need to speak any more nonsense. Longao was too lazy to do the work of making things clear. Caixing didn't care about Ai Sol and Linghu Ning. His face was as ugly as it could be. He said coldly, Looks like you're really arrogant. Caixing, cut the crap. If you want to fight, then fight. If you want to fight, then fight? Caixing laughed sinisterly. It was as if he had heard the funniest thing in the world. He had already sensed his opponent's strength. The lightning tribulation realm might be strong in the eyes of others, but in front of him, it was just a joke. Not to mention Caixing, even Ling Huning and I Soul didn't think highly of Longao. After all, the lightning tribulation realm and the transformation realm were two extremes. It would be strange if a lightning tribulation realm cultivator could kill a transformation realm cultivator. Longao, are you really that confident? I don't know about others, but I have full confidence in you. Longao's attitude had already shown that he didn't put Chai-Shing in his eyes. He was looking down on Chai-Shing. Chai-Shing was no fool. He understood what he meant, but he wasn't angry at all. He pointed at I Soul and then at Ling Huning. Which side are you on? We choose Longao. Whether it was Ling Huning or I Soul, they didn't even think about it and chose to side with Longao. Chai-Shing smiled and didn't mind. He asked, Longao, do you want to fight here or outside? Brother Long. Longao waved his hand. He didn't give them any chance to speak. He said firmly, I have to deal with this matter myself. You don't have to interfere. Ling Huning and I Soul looked at each other and nodded helplessly. There's no need to trouble yourself. I'll fight you to the death right here. Longao exuded powerful confidence. Chai-Shing found it hard to imagine just what gave him such courage and confidence. Brother Linghu, I Spirit, leave this place first. Brother Long, if you're my friend, then listen to me. Ling Huning and I Soul had no other choice but to leave. In the entire luxurious restaurant, there were only two people left. One was Longao, and the other was Chai-Shing. Both of them were transformation realm martial artists. Once a battle began, it was obvious just how great the impact would be. Longao, I will kill you within 3 moves. You! Humph! With a cold snort, Chai-Shing had already rushed out. Before he arrived, his powerful aura had already covered the sky and suppressed the earth. He didn't dare to be the slightest bit careless. No matter what, Chai-Shing was still a martial artist who had undergone 2 transformations. His strength couldn't be underestimated. In order to end this battle quickly, Longao directly used the soul-suppressing seal, dark burning seal, and the 8 styles of drinking blood. Transformation realm! Chai-Shing exclaimed. Sensing the powerful aura emitted by his opponent, Chai-Shing never imagined that his opponent was actually a transformation realm martial artist. Although it was only a first transformation realm martial artist, it was still a transformation realm martial artist. Shocked, Longao certainly wouldn't let go of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He took out the God Sealing Pearl and directly activated it. Half-defective item. Although the God Sealing Pearl was only a half-defective item, Longao was very clear in his heart that with the current power of the God Sealing Pearl, it was enough to lock down Chai-Shing. The God Sealing Pearl released a strange power. Before Chai-Shing could react, he was shocked to find that the surrounding space was rapidly solidifying. He didn't even dare to think about it. Chai-Shing found that his body was actually frozen. That's right, he was frozen. What the hell happened? Chai-Shing's face became extremely ugly. Because until now, he still couldn't figure out why his body was frozen. Outside the restaurant, Ling Huning and I Spirit's faces were solemn. I Spirit said worriedly, Big Brother Linghu, do you think Brother Long can defeat Chai-Shing? Although he was very willing to believe that Longao could defeat Chai-Shing, Ling Huning said helplessly. You and I both know Chai-Shing's strength. I have to admit that Brother Long is indeed a genius. To be able to reach the Lightning Tribulation Realm in just a few months, but the Lightning Tribulation Realm is still the Lightning Tribulation Realm. It's impossible for him to defeat Chai-Shing. As a friend, I must save Brother Long. Ling Huning stopped I Spirit and said solemnly, With our current strength, even if we go in, we'll just be throwing our lives away. Even if we die, as a friend, we must go through fire and water. At this moment, the entire luxurious restaurant collapsed. Then, Longao and Chai-Shing's figures appeared. They thought that Chai-Shing would win and Longao would lose without a doubt, but the result was that Longao kicked Chai-Shing's temple, directly killing him. Kicking Chai-Shing to death with one kick? Looking at the corpse that fell to the ground, both Ling Huning and I Spirit were completely dumbfounded. Chai Xing was a genuine double metamorphosis martial artist and a super figure ranked third on the 100 battle ranking. According to their guess, Longao could not be a match for a double metamorphosis martial artist. "Brother Long, you killed Chai Xing?" Longao smiled and said innocently. "Maybe Chai Xing was careless. I just killed him by luck." "Was it really luck?" Ling Huning and I's spirit's faces were very ugly. It was really infuriating to compare oneself to others, especially Ling Huning. They were both lightning tribulation martial artists. How could Longao kill Chai Xing? What about him? Without a doubt, Ling Huning was very clear about his own strength. If he encountered Chai Xing, he would definitely be killed. As if he had guessed something, Ling Huning asked, "Brother Long, forgive me for asking, but has your cultivation broken through the metamorphosis realm?" Hearing Ling Huning's question, I's spirit was also surprised. Did Brother Long really break through and become a metamorphosis martial artist? "I just broke through by luck." "Luck again?" Seeing Longao nod his head, both Ling Huning and I's spirit were extremely shocked. Both of them knew very well how big the difference was between the metamorphosis realm and the lightning tribulation realm. It was no wonder Longao could kill Chai Xing. Metamorphosis realm. Taking a deep look at the other party, I's spirit still could not react. Because she never thought that Longao would break through the lightning tribulation realm from the consolidation realm to the metamorphosis realm in just a few months. If Longao did not admit it personally, she would not believe it even if she was beaten to death. Geniuses, Yi Dao, Chai Xing, and even Ling Huning, compared to Longao, were simply laughable. Because Longao's talent was there. Not to mention the secular world, even in the 6 major sects, he was a first-class existence. Chapter 171. Brother Linghu, I's spirit, these 2 spiritual balls contain Longshi's power. If nothing goes wrong, it should be able to help you reach the transformation realm. Looking at the 2 spiritual balls in Longao's hand, Ling Huning and I's spirit were surprised. The 2 of them did not hold back and each of them reached out to pick up a spiritual ball. "Both of you, Longshi has a lot of power. I have prepared a total of 4 spiritual balls, so I'm going to give the remaining 2 to others." "Brother Long, you're too annoying. These 2 spiritual balls are enough for us. The remaining 2 spiritual balls are at your disposal." "Brother Long, how do you use the spiritual balls?" Then, Longao taught them how to use the spiritual balls. Longao was very confident about the spiritual balls. According to Long Fu, if there was no way to open the spiritual balls, then no matter how strong one was, they would not be able to open the spiritual balls. Because of this, Longao had just sent out the spiritual balls. Their destination was the Long family of Red Fire Town. Longao had thought about it. The family itself was very weak. Even with the Fire Qilin would eventually leave. Once the Fire Qilin left, what would happen to the family? Therefore, Longao thought of this method. In the future, he would continuously send the spiritual balls back to the family for everyone to use for cultivation. "Brother Long, let's leave here quickly." Nodding, Longao was also very clear about what it meant to kill Chai Xing. Then, the 3 of them left the ruins and flew into the distance. The news of Longao and Chai Xing's battle spread throughout the entire Flame City in an instant. According to the strength of Longao and Chai Xing, no one believed that Longao could defeat Chai Xing. But what was the final result? In just a few seconds, Longao kicked Chai Xing to death. However, everyone who received the news turned pale with fright. None of them were willing to believe it. But the truth was the truth. Even if they were unwilling to admit it, they had to admit it. Chai Xing was very famous in Tianzhou. Even the 6 major sects were scrambling to recruit Chai Xing, but they were all rejected by Chai Xing. Chai Xing was ranked 3rd on the 100 battle ranking list and a martial artist who had undergone the 2nd metamorphosis. His achievements could be imagined. It was precisely because of this that everyone found it hard to believe. Why was Longao able to kick Chaixing to death with a single kick? Could it be that Longao had already reached the transformation realm? Longao was a transformed martial artist? The news that Longao was a metamorphosis martial artist had already spread to all the major families, including the Blazing Flame royal family. Those who received the news were all shocked. How many people in the secular world could be a match for such a genius? In the Dragon Seal space. Long Fu, help me refine Chaixing's soul into a soul slave. Although it required a lot of strength, Longao was very clear that a soul slave that had undergone a second metamorphosis was very powerful. Once it was refined, it would definitely be able to help him defend against external enemies. Long Fu did not say much. He nodded and said, "Master, the soul power that I refined before was not refined into strength. Instead, it was refined into soul power. I will transfer it into your soul later." Longao was immediately overjoyed. He was looking forward to the soul attack that Long Fu had mentioned. Once his soul was strong enough, wouldn't he be able to catch the enemy off guard and catch them off guard? In a luxurious restaurant. "Brother Long, with your talent, if there are no accidents, the sixth sect will soon extend an olive branch to you. Have you thought about which sect you will choose?" The Tianwu continent was divided into 9 provinces. The Tianwu continent was divided into 6 sects, which were above the secular world. Under normal circumstances, the 6 sects would choose suitable people in the secular world to enter their respective sects at any time. However, the higher the talent and potential, the faster the climb. But there was another situation, that was, the super-talented experts would be directly recruited by the 6 great sects. Once they entered the 6 great sects, they would be heavily cultivated. The most important target of the 6 great sects was the 100 battle ranking list, especially the top 10 figures. "Brother Linghu, to be honest, I don't want to join any sect." Perhaps it was because he was hurt by the Nebula Imperial family. Longao no longer wanted to join any sect or the National Guard Hall. Spirit nodded, but her face was very serious. She said, "Brother Long, you just killed Chaixing. I believe that it won't be long before you are ranked 3rd on the 100 battle ranking. According to your current status and strength, you can not only compete for the 100 battle ranking, but also the Fengyan list." Fengyan list? Longao was familiar with the Fengyan list. It could be said that the Fengyan list was above the 100 battle ranking. As long as one was in the Tianwu continent, and was under 30 years old, one could compete for it. It could be said that the Fengyan list was far more valuable than the 100 battle ranking. Longao did not know where he was on the Fengyan list, but he was sure that he was on the list. In fact, it was not hard to guess that anyone who entered the top 10 of the 100 battle ranking would automatically enter the Fengyan list. That was to say, he was on both lists at the same time. Seeing that Longao did not speak, Spirit asked curiously, "Brother Long, what's wrong with you?" Spirit, Brother Linghu, I want to ask about the Golden Sun sect." "Golden Sun sect?" Although Linghu Ning did not know why Longao mentioned the Golden Sun sect, she still said, "Golden Sun sect is one of the 6 sects. Nominally, Golden Sun sect ranks 4th among the 6 sects. But after so many years of development, there are rumors that Golden Sun sect's strength and foundation have surpassed the Ghost King sect. It can even be compared with the Flame sect and the Sound of Thunder sect." Golden Sun sect. Longao never thought that Golden Sun sect would be so powerful. "Brother Long, you don't know. In Golden Sun sect, young Master Zhang Jihong is known as a super genius. He ranks 3rd on the Fengyan list at a young age and is an earthly royal realm warrior." "Zhang Jihong?" "Brother Linghu, Spirit, wait here for a moment." Ignoring their surprised eyes, Longao turned and left quickly, disappearing without a trace in an instant. With Longao's current strength, his speed was as fast as a gust of wind. Outside Flame City. On a huge rock, a young man in fiery red clothes stood arrogantly. When he saw Longao rushing over, the young man went straight to the point. My name is Huiting, young master of the Flame Sect. I'm looking for you this time to invite you to join the Flame Sect. What do you think? So fast. Longao was surprised by the other party's identity. Huiting, young master of the Flame Sect. Although he had expected that the Flame Sect and even the Six Sects would recruit him, this speed was a little too fast. I'm sorry. I'm used to being free, so I won't join any sect or force. Rejected? Hearing the other party's rejection, Huiting's face instantly turned ugly. After all, as the young master of the Flame Sect, when had he ever been rejected like this? Next up is a big storyline, so 3 chapters a day, starting from the first. He said. Okay, I respect your choice. Huiting, you have heard that Longao is not willing to join any sect. You can leave now. After taking a deep look, Huiting suddenly sneered and said, Longao, the Green Mountains do not change and the green rivers flow forever. We will meet again in the future. Looking at the gradually disappearing figure, Xia Jun snorted coldly and said, Longao, ignore him. It was easy to say. No matter what, Huiting was an earthly sovereign realm martial artist. He had the entire Flame Sect as his backing. It was almost impossible to ignore Huiting. Longao, are you really not considering joining the Sound of Thunder sect? Before Longao could speak, Xia Jun continued. Longao, forgive me for being blunt. Your talent and potential are indeed the strongest among all the people I have seen. However, an individual's strength is always limited. Do you understand what I mean? Longao had indeed not thought about this problem. Longao, I believe that as your troubles increase, you should be able to clearly feel that no matter how strong you are, as long as you meet a strong enemy, not to mention yourself, even the clan behind you will not be able to guarantee your safety. Longao nodded. Regarding this point, Longao did not hide it at all. Longao, even if you don't want to join the Sound of Thunder sect, I would still like to give you a piece of advice. While increasing your strength, think about your clan. By the way, I already know about the enmity between you and the Sound of Thunder Imperial family. Before coming, I have already informed the Sound of Thunder Imperial family. Hence, from now on, the Sound of Thunder Imperial family will no longer interfere with the enmity between you and the Star Cloud Imperial family. Thank you. Although he did not know what Xia Jun meant, Xia Jun had indeed solved a big problem for him by doing so. You are welcome. I have something to do and will leave first. If you have any problems, you can come to the Sound of Thunder sect to look for me or pass me a message. Remember, Huiting is a very sinister person. Looking at Xia Jun, who had already left, Longao's face turned ugly. It was not because he was afraid of Huiting, but because what Xia Jun said was true. No matter how strong he was, he would eventually meet a stronger enemy. If this continued, his clan would never be safe. Clan. Longao clenched his fists tightly because he knew that from now on, not only did he have to increase his own strength, he also had to increase his clan's strength. It was still the same sentence. He could not stay in the clan forever. Only when the clan's strength was strong could he guarantee that nothing would happen. Spiritual Ball. Longao's soul entered the dragon seal space and said straightforwardly, Long Fu, from now on, you have to split half or 1/3 of the souls that I have captured and store them in the spiritual ball for me. Master, why is that? Long Fu seemed to be very curious. He did not know what was wrong with his master. Why did he have to split half or 1/3 of the souls? After all, this was not a small number. Long Fu, I am not alone. I have a clan behind me. If something happens to my clan, I will blame myself for the rest of my life. Hence, I have already thought about it. No matter what happens, I have to increase the strength of my clan first. Long Fu did not seem to understand the meaning of a clan. In his opinion, as long as his master was strong enough, everything else was nonsense. However, since his master had already said so, he could not refuse. Nodding his head, Long Fu said, "Master, please be at ease. I will store the energy that I have refined in the spiritual ball. However, Master, if you want to better protect your clan, you must first become stronger. Otherwise, everything will be just fleeting clouds." Nodding his head, Longao had already thought about this problem. It could be said that no matter if it was him or his clan, they must increase their strength as soon as possible. This was because he deeply understood that in order to survive in this man-eat-man world, one must have a strong fist. Otherwise, they would be persecuted everywhere. Not only the clan, but also himself. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.